We had just recently gone through this, but it was the original... Or, with my giant face in the way, Alan... We had just recently gone through the 360 version of this. And, if I had known, I probably would have waited. But hooray, we get to go around again. I'm so excited to have even the tiniest sliver of new Alan Wake content. It is incredibly cool to be back. So, I have my coffee. That is the most important thing about playing Alan Wake. You have to have your coffee. And it has to be, if at all possible, in a thermos or a white porcelain mug. This white porcelain mug has me on it. That's not one of the prerequisites. Don't pay any attention to that. Also, roasty toasty, Alan would be proud. Are you guys ready? Are you ready for new game? Let's do it. Normal? I guess I got away with doing normal last time because I had previously gone through Nightmare mode to get all the Nightmare exclusive manuscript pages. I will probably need to get those again, but let's start on normal. Hello all, it's so nice to see you. We have matching cups.
Logic, and there's little fun to be had in explanations. They're antithetical to the poetry of fear.
Oh, Alan,
story,
it's so good to hear your voice.
Why? But there can be no explanation, and there shouldn't be one. The unanswered mystery is what stays with us the longest, and it's what we'll remember in the end. My name is Alan Wake. I'm a writer.
This is my favorite game. I'm so happy to be back here with you guys. Thank you for joining me again.
But this dream unsettled me. It was wild and dark and weird, even by my standards. So yes.
Look at those tendrils of lighthouse smoke. Lovely.
Following a typical nightmare pattern, I was late, desperately trying to reach my destination, a lighthouse. For some urgent reason, I couldn't remember. I'd been driving too fast down a coastal road to get there.
High-def hitchhiker.
I'd seen the hitchhiker too late.
He's dead now, but he was very high-def for a second there, and it was cool.
He was dead. I was convinced they'd put me in jail, and I would never see Alice again.
Oh no! It's a good thing this is just a dream. Because that's terrifying. As is the sudden disappearance of his lifeless corpse. Okay.
Suddenly, his body was gone.
Hello. So nice to see you there. Thank you for the subscription.
I was in shock from the crash.
Episode 1.
Stay on my feet.
Nightmare. Man, this looks so nice. Oh, yeah. Look at those lighting effects. Alright, look up. No, that seems right. Oh, good to know. Alright. What do we have here? Books. Many copies of my last novel. Bestseller, by the way. Not trying to brag, I'm just giving you the facts.
The car wasn't going anywhere.
Oh man, I busted my radiator.
I had to go to the lighthouse. I knew there was something important waiting for me there.
Is it a radiator? Because that would be very handy. I love just looking at the mist hanging in the air here. They seem to have stolen a couple of things from Control, perhaps. Though, this isn't really changed in any way. So these were the original things. It just looks better and more like Control now. Thank you for the light. I always appreciate that. Not you, house. I was speaking to the street lamp. I seem to remember there's, yes, a thermos of coffee. We gotta get ready for it.
The bridge had collapsed. I'd have to find another way to the lighthouse.
1 out of 100. That's gonna take up some of my life. That's gonna take up some of my off time, collecting thermoses. Nothing to worry about now. I did, in fact, take time off. Yes, so sorry I missed that question earlier. Just for this. Just to be with you. Damn fine cup of coffee. So sorry, catching up to the chat here. Oh, you're sewing while you're trying to watch. That's not going to be good for your fingertips. But you are an expert, so I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's fine. I'm looking at, like, everything again. Sorry to be whipping the camera around so much. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anything they may have changed. Oh, hi, hitchhiker. I thought you were gone. Do you have a hatchet?
You don't even recognize me, do you, Ryder?
Alright, I'm just gonna run.
You're God.
I'm gonna run because you have a scary amount of power.
Play with people's lives and kill them when you
Do
think
you possess the space stone? I'm out of stairs. Could we... Twisted my ankle a little.
There would be a single readable
Hi.
sentence in your books if it wasn't for your editor. You'll never publish another
Ah, that hurts.
stories, cause I'm gonna kill you. It's not like your stories are any good. Not like they have any artistic
Oh.
merit. You're a
Ah,
lousy writer.
insult to injury.
Cheap thrills and pretentious shit. That's all you're good
Yep,
for.
that's me.
Just look
Alan
at me.
Wake. Cheap thrills and pretentious shit. Welcome to my wheelhouse. Yes? A QR code. These were in the original version, and they led you to some sort of blog documents or something, and then they were taken out after a while because the blog was no longer hosted or something like that. I forget exactly. So it's interesting that they're back. I don't really have I have a phone, but I've never read a QR code with it. I don't know how modern technology works. We'll come back to that. I'm sure it will be very exciting to see what they've added. Press A to jump.
You missed
Explosive.
your deadline.
I think I tweaked one of my thigh tendons, but... Alright, left button to dodge. Ah! Try dodging it now. That was fun.
You can't stop me.
Well done, was it? It's more like it. I don't know what was wrong with my first
I
one.
realized that the hitchhiker was a character from the story I'd been working on.
Well, that's why he's rattling around your subconscious. I see now. Much like this crow. Hello, crow. Are you rattling around my subconscious? Well, not
How
anymore.
does it feel to die by the hands of your own creation?
Not good. Oh, come on. One of the light bulbs has to stay intact. Otherwise, what was it all for? What was it all for, Thomas Edison? Anybody? Are you also a figment of my imagination? Or are you real and possess snacks? Because that'd be great.
Mr. Wake, it's me. I'm Stewart, remember? What? Get inside.
Yeah.
There's no time to lose.
Don't want to hurt his feelings. Of course I remember you, Clay.
It's coming. Inside now.
This is indeed a remake, yes. You were playing through it. A little bit.
Stop. No!
So you're not crazy.
No! No! No!
Clay, watch out!
Ah.
Oh, that's updated. You could really see the life leaving his eyes there.
I was trapped. There was no way out.
Have you tried the refrigerator? We'll try it. Nope, that's not a way out. I don't want to. It's pronounced I. I. You're wrong. What is that? Conspiracy of Faith. I can read the author.
The cabin was a death trap. I had to get out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, this is new. This did not look like that before. A film by Thomas Zane. They officially retconned it.
Follow the light.
Oh, hey, Tom. I love that. I don't know how to explain. I should explain. In the original game, Tom, the diver, the poet from the 70s, who this originally happened to, but originally in some pseudo quotes because we're not sure how many times this has happened, at Cauldron Lake in the past. But Tom was a diver and a poet, married to Barbara Jagger, and there was no mention at any point, except for the fact that he took like a picture on the lake while he was in his diving suit, or changing out of it. It was very saucy. He took a picture on the lake, but there was no other indication that he was like a photographer or a filmmaker. And then in Control, the wonderful, wonderful game Control, there were a lot of references to Jessie, the main character of Control, having seen the films of Thomas Zane when she was a child. And to my knowledge at the time, there were no films of Thomas Zane. That's strange to me. In Control, he became a filmmaker. And also in Control, they started to like designate other sort of fun behind-the-scenes jobs, like Jessie is the director. Thomas Zane is the filmmaker. Alan is the writer, etc., etc. There's all sorts of different positions the universe is filling in its casting call for some reason. And so that poster, it used to just say Tom the Poet, and then it had a picture of him in his diving suit, and it had no credits, no other text. That was it. Now, if I saw that right, the poster officially said Tom the Poet, a film by Thomas Zane, thereby making what Jessie saw real in the past. I love little changes like that. Alright, heal me up, sweet, sweet light. I have butt wounds, and I need your help.
To tell you. It goes like this.
Not you, Tom.
For he did not know
Stay away.
that beyond the lake he called home lies a deeper, darker ocean green, where waves are both wilder and more serene. To its ports I've been. To its ports I've been. Do you understand?
No.
You know, after 11 years, kind of? Not really. No, I don't really understand. Kind of.
I entered your dream to teach you. The darkness is dangerous. It's sleeping now. When it feels you coming, it will wake up. There's no time. I can only show you the most important thing.
Okay. What's that? Is it where the Cheetos are? Because I'd sure like to know.
The hitchhiker has been taken over by the dark presence. You can't hurt him now. The darkness protects him from all harm. Only light can drive the darkness away and make him vulnerable again. Here, take the light.
Oh, it's over.
Pick up your flashlight toward him and burn the darkness away.
Burn, you fiend. Burn. That's it. No, I'll try a little more. Oh, now I'm out of batteries. Just grab some of this while we're waiting. While we're waiting for batteries. Item limit reached. I'm disappointed with your number of corduroy pockets, Alan.
You did it.
Buy more.
Now the darkness no longer protects him, but it's still inside, controlling him. He can't be
Should
saved.
I shoot him in the hand? Do you want me to...
Your enemy.
I shoot him in the hand? Is that what you... Oh, I don't have the gun yet. That's why I was like, it's not letting me. Seems rude. And like a lot of ammo.
Good. You've done well. Remember what I've taught you. That is all.
Thank you, I will.
I'll give you back your dream now.
In the night,
It's wet. What did you do with it?
Darkness was taking over the world. The lighthouse was the last safe place.
I was
on
jumping
Earth.
the gun, yes. Quite literally. Ooh, I got an achievement. It's been so long since I've gotten an achievement in Alan Wake. I love that. Alright, all full up on ammo. Let's get out of here.
You made me this way, and now I'm gonna kill you.
I don't like you, and I'd like you to leave. Is that rude? Is that rude of me to say? You could just barely see a thermos peeking out of the bunker there. Let's make sure we don't miss that. Oh, hey guys, you got friends? What's that like? Alright, reload. You're gonna have to get better at this, Alan. There's a lot of combat to come. And you don't get any more dynamic as the game goes on, so yeah, you're just gonna have to get better at this. We got our flare gun now, lovely. Do pardon me for just one moment. I'm back. Did you pardon me? I really have no way of knowing, so I hope so. Alright, if you drop off there, it's no turnsies backsies. You can't get the thermos. So let's make sure we get the thermos first. I remember doing that last time we streamed this, and oh, the sadness I felt. Ah, the shame rising through the blood vessels of my cheeks. Now you can drop off. But don't drop dead. We need you. Hitchhikers, however, you can die. Triplets. Congratulations. That must be fun for you and your family. I forgot I had that equipped. That happens more often than I'd like. Back to the pistol. Very important to switch back to the pistol. Alright. So now we have one flare. I have to make use of it. I don't think manuscript pages are yet a thing in this dream. There might be one scripted one. I don't think I need to look too carefully around the edges. Goodbye. I didn't know that could happen. Hooray. Is that new? Oh yeah, flare for the win. Flares are like nuclear weapons in here. Take that, Taken. Aw, my billboard! That's the button to run. I've just now remembered. Assuming we want to avoid barrels now, I've learned. Oh, I'm out of stamina. I'm just a simple man. I don't even work out. I live in an apartment in New York. How would I work out there? Yummy. There's time. There's always time. Alright, let's get in now, though. Cyclone's getting a little close. Bit of a cyclose. Barbara? Is that you? It is so nice to see you guys there. Oh yes, please feel free to re-watch anytime if you are busy sewing your fingers together, etc. No rush. Lovely to have you guys along for the journey.
He's here.
Such a beautiful spiral staircase. God, I love lighthouses.
Shh, baby. Just another nightmare. Everything's
Oh,
fine.
hey, Alice.
You dozed off.
You look much more lifelike now.
Anything more than dozed off would be nice
Alan.
for everyone.
Also looking svelte.
Cheer up, handsome. We're here.
Stop it. Welcome. And a bright falls AWE to you. Is anyone else craving fresh seafood? No? Just me? Fish? Shrimp, maybe? You've heard of Double D's, but just you wait till you get a load of this diner. Oh, our luggage is more clarified than ever.
Let's
I
act
love
like
the
we're
sight
on
of it.
vacation. Go stand next to that old gentleman there. I want a shot of you with the town in the background.
Did you just call him an old
give
gentleman?
You a title for the shot. A city boy.
Is that a way people address strangers? Sure, I guess.
Hi.
Hello there.
My wife asked me to come make friends because I'm
Deerfest is
a loner.
2 weeks away.
Deerfest, huh? Did you hear that, honey?
Do you have ears?
You have
No,
a
she's
lovely
deaf.
wife.
Sorry.
If you don't mind me saying. I'm Pat Maine, by the way. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I can't say this. No, it is. I'm sorry. It is, Pat. Nice to see you.
Writers such as yourself, Mr. Wake. A pleasure. I'm an avid reader myself.
Aw.
I hope this isn't too.
Well, that's a day
presumptuous of me,
brightener.
but
We met a
I'm the
fan
host
on
of
the
local
ferry.
radio station. Any chance
A
of
ferry just full of fans.
Look, Mr. Maine, I'm on vacation. In fact, I'd appreciate it if we could keep my being here just between the two of us. I'm sure you understand.
That being said, feel free to mention it on your local radio show later.
Not a hard man to
Spoiler
track down if
alert.
you change your mind, though. I hope you two have a lovely holiday.
Thanks, Pat. You're my main man. See what I did there? See what I did with his last name?
Very
No,
nice.
it's not important.
I got a couple of really
it's
good
fine.
ones. And I see you made a friend. That's cute.
Right.
That's cute. Like you told me, and now you're making fun of me for doing what you... Okay.
Are you there yet?
All right, marital troubles.
We just got here.
Are the locals giving you trouble? Just say the
No,
word.
I'm sorry,
and I'll hop
Alice.
on a
We're
plane
fine.
and come make
We're
sure that
fine.
you're left alone, Al.
No, Barry.
Just
we're
gonna poke
fine.
this guy. Just gonna
Just wanna
put
make
your
sure you
hand.
can relax and
just
chill.
nowhere
See who has the
seedy.
last
Don't.
laugh.
I know what you're
Have you
thinking, but
got your
I was just gonna
juices flowing?
Barry,
poke him in his
we're
lower
just
back.
saying-
Okay, Al. I'll call back later to make sure you're doing okay. And you call me if there's a problem, okay?
Do we really need more lumber? Did you need to bring this lumber here? Do we not have enough? There's like a whole lumber yard here. Why are we importing?
Barry is
This is a
Barry.
waste.
I can always turn off the phone.
What did I tell you?
Text
Barry.
message from Barry. He says hi to you too.
I can't wait until he's back. There's the deer.
Here.
The
Come
deer
on,
of
let's get back to the
Deerfest. 68th annual. If you're curious. I'm not ready to get back to the car yet. No. I'm not ready. I need to poke this guy. I want to poke you in your lower back. Hey. Friend of mine? Back friend? Poke buddy? No, I don't think he's responding to any of these affectionate
Come on,
nicknames.
Slowpoke. You get the full service here. I've made all the arrangements. I drive the car. I'll even carry the bags. All you have
All
to
expenses
do is drag your
paid?
cute butt into the car and enjoy the ride.
You got it.
Yeah, sounds like you've got a lazy bastard.
Cute
for a
butt
husband.
into the car. I understand the assignment.
Yeah, but I got a thing for him. Come on, you lazy bastard. Let's go.
All right. It appears we're just going to float until I decide to dock us. I didn't think it was my responsibility. I just bought a ferry ticket. I didn't think I needed to dock the craft, but they are clearly not going to until I decide to throw an anchor or something. I don't know how ferries work.
We need to stop at the local diner to get the cabin key from the landlord, a Mr. Carl Stuckey. He's waiting for us.
Gotta get the witch's cabin key.
I'll go fill her up while you get the key. I'll pick you up here in, say, 15 minutes.
Sure.
That's a long time to get a key. Do you want me to listen to Lime and the
Thank you for
Coconut
coming.
twice?
I
Is that
love
why
you
you're
too. Go on. I'll
giving me
promise
so
to
much time? You think it's going to take me 15 minutes to go in there and say, hey, can I have the key?
I'd forgotten there were still places like this.
All right.
Towns where
Makes
everybody
sense.
knew everybody.
Welcome to the Oh Dear Diner.
Hi, I was wondering if you could help me. I'm looking for...
Mr. Wake, Alan Wake.
Rose.
Oh, God.
It's nice to see you.
I'm your biggest fan. I know people say that all the time, but I really
Saw that.
am.
I'm glad to hear that.
Rose.
Rose, I'm looking for Mr. Stuckey. Carl
Rose gets
Stuckey?
such a short stick here in the narrative. I feel so
He must
bad
have
for
gone to
her.
visit the restroom. He'll be back in a moment.
She deserves an
I can't
expanded
believe
role
it.
in
I got all
things.
your books. I got the
No,
cut
go
from
on.
the
I have time.
bookstore when
I
they
have
took it out of the
15
window.
minutes before my wife is going to come back,
And
so
keep it here.
please.
Well, okay. Good for you.
Yes, indeed, Alan Wake is the game in question.
Try the coffee.
And welcome,
Just
welcome.
don't blame me when you fall in love, because it'll break your heart when you have to leave.
Rusty here is no longer human.
I know what
Nothing
you
but
mean.
black coffee under a thin layer of skin.
Yeah, that makes two of us.
That's terrifying. Can I poke you and you jiggle like a waterbed?
Are you staying
I'm gonna
on
assault
this
the park ranger to see if he jiggles like a waterbed. I don't think he does. I don't think they programmed that in. Oh, Rose, you'll get over it eventually. You'll come to realize that I'm just a man, and more than that, I'm rather insufferable, so...
Thanks, Rose. We'll be sure to keep that in mind. Right. So much for a quiet vacation.
It's all autographs from here on out, Alan. Get your wrist ready? I don't know what I was trying to say there. Oh, dear.
Do me
Gentlemen.
a favor, Sonny.
Wow, they
I
look
could
great.
really use a tune right now.
He's like one of the
Number
original
6
guys
in the
from the game
book.
that never looked
I'd do it
too high
myself,
def.
but
He
both
always
of my
looked a little
legs
blurry.
have gone to sleep.
He looks great now.
Bad circulation. Yeah.
Oh, sure, I'll put your song on for you.
Coconut again? You
There you go.
disgust me. Call yourself a rocker. Unbelievable. Ha!
It does that.
It is
Get
so
stuck.
nice to see the boys
You
again.
need to give it a good solid whack.
Oh, sorry. I'll give it the fawns here. Mmm. So angry
Now
at the
that's what
jukebox.
I'm
I don't
talking
trust
about,
jukeboxes
yeah.
anymore. Not after the song for the others.
I've died and gone to hell.
Get out of here, Chester Bliss. I don't trust you. Just some deep cuts. I'm sorry. There's too deep, really. Staff only. I think there is something back there, but later when the diner is more open. There is, however, one sitting right out here. Hooray. I do have the music turned down slightly. This should be a more raucous jukebox affair, but most of the music is like David Bowie, etc. And I don't have the money for that. Oh, I don't have Bowie money. It is so beautiful to just walk around in here. This is, you know, it's that classic remaster situation where the first time you play a game like this, your imagination takes over, and it's always, in my mind, looked this good. So this is just how I remember it. It's great. But it's also gorgeous at the same time. Lantern Lady, I really appreciate everything you're about to do for me, and I just want to take this moment where we have a little time together to thank you. Cynthia,
Go in there,
let's do this.
man. You can hurt yourself in the dark.
I think I can handle
Stubbed
it,
toe, or
I didn't want to wait.
do you mean
I wanted
demons?
to find Stuckey, to get the key and get out as soon as possible. The waitress was giving me a headache. Overeager fans always did.
Alan, you should be nicer. That's rude and stupid of you.
Hello? Mr. Stuckey?
Are you Stucky? Can I help?
Carl couldn't make it. Unfortunately, he was taken ill.
Don't
But I
spill.
have the key for you and instructions on how to get to the lake.
Okay.
I wish you a good stay in my cabin.
Did she always have that ring?
I'll come by later to check how you've settled in.
Is that a new ring?
And to meet your wife.
With a new design on it.
I insist.
Either that or I'm very unobservant. Two likely possibilities. Okay, Barbara, this is the men's side, as you can clearly see by this very gendered, very masculine sign that shows these legs. Only men have legs, you see, so that's how you know. And I don't think you should be here, Barbara. Now, let's break convention together.
I am so happy
I'm gonna go over to the women's side. Ha 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 ha. Look at me over here, Barbara. I bet you never thought that I would buck the norm to this extent. Thank you for the key. I'm sure nothing nefarious is going on. Back to my wife.
Man. You can hurt yourself in the dark.
Do you mean demons?
This really ought to be fixed, and then I must remind...
Even that sounds better than your singing.
Are you alright?
Sorry, Cynthia. I went too far. You were in the middle of speaking, and I cut you off.
Swells up like a balloon if I lift anything heavier than a spoon. Yeah, splendid. It's been a long time gone.
Can it just be the spoon, or can the weight of, like, the pudding, or whatever it is, also be lifted? So I know, at some point there was an achievement for playing Lime in the Coconut twice. I don't know if you have to play it when you come back to the diner, or if I need to play it again.
Dr. Hartman to come pick them up.
I don't remember.
They wandered off from his clinic at the Cauldron Lake Lodge.
Oh, Dr. Emil Hartman has a clinic on Cauldron Lake called Cauldron Lake Lodge. Is that what you're telling me? Dr. Emil Hartman, you said?
I'll be heading back.
No, we don't know his first name yet. I'm skipping.
Oh, but I'm not looking forward to the poison we have at the Park Cafe.
You enjoy that now. Oh, those cups are huge. Now that I'm noticing it, I love that. I need one of those.
Rusty, that's so sweet. I'll swing by with a fresh cup later on.
It must be a comeback later situation. Hopefully we won't miss our achievement. I'm planning on it, yeah. Planning on being in like a... Having a conversation over here, guys.
Oh dear. That's not really our festival anthem.
Could have fooled
It
me
should
there.
be. It's fantastic. Alright, I'll see you guys later. Such a pleasure to meet you. You enjoy that coffee.
I want to keep her waiting.
Cynthia, be well. I think I've done all I can here.
Mr. Wake.
Mission
Hey, Alice.
accomplished. The key and the directions.
My hero.
I got them
some
from someone who
flashlights,
isn't
just
who
in
you told me
case.
to meet. In a dark bathroom alleyway.
Hey,
Mr. Stucky.
Mrs. Wake!
Wait,
Your keys!
those are my keys? I thought I had my... Wait, those are my...
That diner was a real nut house.
Can you believe this place? This would make a wonderful setting for a book.
We're supposed to be on
Wouldn't
vacation,
it?
Alice. I'll figure it out when we get back home. Okay?
Okay. We can talk about this later.
Bad man here on PBFF.
I didn't want to talk about it. I wanted to bury my head in sand.
Like an ostrich.
Once upon a time, I was a successful writer, but that was a long
Like an
time
ostrich.
ago. I hadn't been able to write a word in 2 years. Not since my
Like
last
an
book.
ostrich.
And now the weather. It's gonna be a clear night, so you folks in the big city might want to look up every once in a while. See those
Roy
stars
Orbison.
looking down at you? It gets pretty dark out here, but they'll light your way.
Don't have money for that either, but here it is. Ooh. Maybe I can just sing over it and won't get in trouble, but probably not. Welcome to Diver's Isle.
It's gorgeous, Alan.
It's something,
You have-
all right.
Pecan
Don't
pie flavored coffee?
inside
That
safe and sound
sounds
before we start.
absolutely
I
amazing.
got the flashlight.
Something I've never had.
I'm okay.
Alice had a phobia.
All right.
The fear of
Sun is going
darkness.
down.
I wanted to make sure we were
Alice,
inside with the lights
not great
on
with the
before
dark.
sunset.
I'll be right back. I don't mean to leave you waiting, but there might be a thermos. There's definitely an old well. Well, shucks. I'm sorry, Alice. I'll hurry it along. To subject you to these puns. Anyone leave a thermos up here? I'm feeling very decaffeinated. I am uncomfortably lucid right now. Please. Lighting is just gorgeous. Cauldron Lake. My old nemesis. Good. Didn't come all this way for nothing. I didn't make it all the way through third grade for nothing.
Got its name from the shape of the island. It looked like a giant bird leg. Alice had mentioned that the lake was a caldera. There was a dormant volcano under it.
Was there just? How did Alice know about that? Was she on Wikipedia? Saucy. Alright, just the coffee. Let's get back down there. Private property. No trespassing unless Carl Stuckey has given you the appropriate keys. This is, of course, nowhere near where Carl Stuckey would have sent us. He would not have sent us to live in the middle of a lake. That would make no sense to Carl Stuckey. I don't know why you can't run for this part, but you can't run for this part. He's not, pumping with enough adrenaline, apparently. Hi, sorry, I just left you here while the sun was going down and your biggest fear is broaching. Let's get in. Oh, hey, it's that same crow. And a clone of it. Weird. 3 of the exact... Oh, they're all the same. This is all just one subatomic particle flipping back and forth, making a bunch of crows. Outside of time and space, as I understand it. You knocked over my watering can. How am I supposed to water now? I put a lot of emphasis on that. Okay. Any other coffee hiding around? Pages? Page boys? No? Ah, your haircuts are hideous. Get out of here. Why? Why do they cut page boys' haircuts that way? I don't understand. What did the page boys do to deserve this? How did we get on this subject? I have so many questions.
The generator had been connected to the power cable.
I better do this in the right order. I'm exploring here, but Alice will tell us to go get this. Let's properly do it up.
The island had once been the site for a love story. Maybe it would be that again.
TZ plus BJ. Thomas Zane and Barbara Jagger. Hi. Should we go in? Want me to jiggle it? I'll jiggle it. I see that look. I know when to jiggle it. 1 second. I'll be right back. Duck and cover. All right.
It's dark in there. We need light.
Oh, it's so
Can you figure
dark.
out how to get the power on, honey?
There's a small, slightly dilapidated child's wooden rocking horse, Sweetness, so we're not staying here. We're gonna leave immediately. I'm not gonna get the power on, get back to the car. I don't mean to make demands of you, I know this is an equal partnership, but get back to the car. There's a rocking horse in there. We gotta go. Alright. So now we have to go out to the generator. That all makes sense, but let's peek around in the darkness just a bit. Have you
Hello?
ever
Anyone here?
considered that a shoebox could be used to hold items? Have you
sat on the shelf.
ever thought about
never
that?
heard of him before.
Thomas Zane, The Labyrinth of Me, the Temple of Shadow and Mist, In Her Dreams to Prevail, and Kept from Sleep. So Thomas Zane was always a poet. In the original game, that's what he's like Alan. They're both authors, but Alan does novels and Tom did poetry. And his poems awoke things from Cauldron Lake. We'll get there. I'm skipping ahead. So it's very interesting to me that he's now canonically a filmmaker. That was not the case, and it genuinely makes me wonder if it's something that Alan didn't know about back at this point, and if Thomas Zane did in fact go on to be a filmmaker, or what makes me more curious is, did Alan change it? Because Alan, with the power he currently has, can do anything he wants, really. And so did he change Thomas Zane's story? And we don't yet know why. We don't know why he's a filmmaker. But I think it has something to do with the Blessed Pictures subplot from Control. Oh, this will make a great writing room. I could stay in here for, just about a week,
For a moment, the
and then
oppressive
escape.
feel of the nightmare I had seen on the ferry returned. Damn.
Anybody else see that, or? There's good Tom.
I needed to
Oh,
get the power
good
running in
Tom.
the cabin. There had to be a fuse box
Standing
or
out on the
generator
docks
somewhere
behind
on
the house.
The cabin looked like a time capsule from the 60s, or even earlier.
July 1970. Perhaps July 4th, specifically, or maybe that's just indicating a holiday. I don't know. All right, let's go to the generator. I think we've seen all the interactables. You didn't see anything? Oh, good. That's comforting to hear.
Before we go inside, Alan.
Understood, Alice. I mean, I've been inside because I faced my fears, but I'll get the generator on for you, don't worry. It shouldn't be shaking that much. Oh no, we need to get out of here. It's spraying oil, it's shaking. We're going to die. Going to die on this island.
Good work, honey. I'll freshen up a bit and start settling in.
Please
Okay.
do. You look
I'll look around
tired.
a bit.
Wow,
Sure
you're
thing. Have fun.
let's just get some nachos and sit out on the dock. You don't need to freshen up.
It was a beautiful
It's not really for
place.
me to say. You enjoy yourself.
I told myself I could rest here, sleep here, and forget about my work.
I told myself that, but I was lying.
I thought we could be happy here.
Those windows don't look clean. I'd wash. There's some sort of arterial spray there. The sun's going down.
Alice had told me
Sun's
about
getting
Cauldron
real
Lake
low.
Lodge. The old building used to be a hotel, but these days it was no longer open to the public.
It was only open to a meal. I'm going to make a real meal out of it. Okay. Anything else I need to grab now that it's slightly dimmer out? Has that changed the world in a substantial way? Ah, yes, I see now that it is slightly dimmer out. Child's rocking horse. Moving
Alice?
on. Just gonna
Honey?
pretend it doesn't exist. Hey, Crows.
The Deerfest guests have already started to arrive. Just ran into one on the ferry. A famous artist, no less. But we'll
I
see if
just
we can
asked you
open
not
to
to.
an interview later on. Now let's go to
Well, he
the phone's caller and
didn't
hear
name
on
me,
DFM.
so technically our contract is intact.
What's on your mind?
I know who that famous artist was. It was Alan
Ah,
Wake.
but Rose has swooped in, and now
Before
everyone
Dorn played
knows.
a trick on me. Alice wouldn't have come out in the dark.
I am so excited he's here.
I'm sure he's glad to be here, too. Well, folks, I guess the secret's out. This is Pat Maine on KBFFM.
It sure is, Pat.
Great. So much for keeping a low profile.
I'm gonna be swarmed just like that opening scene of Singing in the Rain where they're tearing and tearing at his tuxedo trying to catch a peek of his nude thigh. It's gonna be just like that scene with his thighs.
I couldn't help but imagine all sorts of horrors lurking in the depths below.
Cthulhu? Are you hiding down there? Do you sleep below in the great depths? O slumbering one? Let's not wake him. It's not time yet. Alice, are you fresh? It's really not a question you should ask. Let's phrase it differently.
Alan, I'm upstairs. I have a surprise for you.
I hope it's cake. Is it these skinny jeans? Do you want me to wear these? 'Cause I don't even think I could get a single leg through there. What do you... I don't think I could wear these. I think they're too skinny for me. Is it,
Well,
where's my
hello there.
thing?
I'm not the surprise. It's in the study. Go take a look.
This way?
Okay.
Ah, sweet.
Surprise!
Alice? What is
That
this?
must have been heavy
I guess
to
I'm
keep
a
in your
small
back pocket
professional
this whole time.
I thought maybe you could write here that a change of scenery would get you past...
Damn it, Alice, everyone
Hey, just hear me out. There's a local doctor, Dr. Hartman. I read a book of his. He has a private clinic here. He specializes in helping artists. Maybe...
So now you want to get me committed?
No, it's not like that. That's
Calm down, Alan.
Alan?
Ah.
Alan?
Your aggressive tone has brought darkness upon this place. Oh, you're gonna regret
I
that.
knew she wouldn't follow me in the dark. I needed some time alone to think things through.
And that's enough. That's all the time I needed. I regret everything. I'm going back. Ah, what a fool I've been. What an aggressive fool.
Damn it.
I was being an asshole again. Ah, silly me.
Alice? Alice! The cabin had gone dark. All the lights were out.
Now you can run. I'm coming. I'm sorry for everything in case we never see each other again.
I'm coming! What the hell?
Birds. I forgot about the birds. I'm coming.
Alice? Alice?
Shoot. Just too late.
Oh no!
Keep going. Wake up.
Alice?
Can I breathe yet? I don't know. Am I underwater? I have a head wound. That's new.
Waking up in the crashed car felt like I had woken from one nightmare and entered another.
How did you get in the car, Alan?
I couldn't remember how I got
Tell me,
there.
where were you
All I
on the
knew was
evening
that
of
something terrible
September
had happened to
13th?
Alice. The phone was dead. I'd have to find help on foot.
How did you even do that? Like, how did you manage to... Alan, this is very poor driving. I don't... can't trust you with anything.
Among Alice's things was a book, The Creator's Dilemma, by a Dr. Emil Hartman. Seeing the book...
Just heard a
brought
tree
back my
fall
fight
over in the
with
background.
Alice.
It's
I
not a
didn't
good
like
sound.
it, and I didn't like the guy's smug face on the cover either.
I really don't like what his smug face eventually turns into. Oh, God, did I find that displeasing. All right. I don't seem to have spilled any nearby thermoses. We'll continue on. I think we are now in manuscript page land. So we'll have to keep an eye out.
Hike through the forest to get there.
Well, let's take a long hike through the forest to get there.
Damn.
Once again, not a great parking job. I'd maybe take a remedial course. Maybe just never drive again, start taking the subway. It's up to you. It's up to you, Alan. This is so lovely. A little extra foliage and upgraded textures. Ooh! This really is a Nordic walking simulator now. It's gorgeous. Tom? Are you blinding me? I'm feeling that in my balls.
Someone there?
My eyeballs. If you're not watching the feed to see the gesture, it's very important that you see the gesture.
The loose sheets of paper were pages from a manuscript entitled Departure. That was the name I planned to use for the next novel I had never gotten started. I
Because
was
of my
named
writer's
the
block.
author. I hadn't written it. I couldn't remember writing it. In the scene on the page, the hero was attacked by an axe murderer in the woods at night.
Really? Could we,
Departure by Alan Wake. The man turned to face me. His face was covered in shadows. It was hard to make him out in the darkness of the forest that surrounded us, but the axe he lifted was plain to see. It glistened with the blood of his victim. He grinned madly. The shadows were alive, distorting his features. It was a scene from a nightmare, but I was awake.
He is. He is literally a... It's not important. So all of these, once again, all of these with the flame symbol, darkness, tendril, whatever that icon is, are nightmare difficulty mode only. Yes, as it says in the key down there, just behind my laptop screen. So those we won't be able to find now, but we'll be able to find on the harder difficulty setting. We'll try to get the rest, though. As many of them as I can stomach. You shouldn't eat the pages, though, Alan. That's not... It's just for reading. I can't remember if there's any sort of food collectible in this. I don't think there is, really. Sort of a funny video game trope that they've avoided entirely. Light just heals you, I think. Alright, so there could be any number of new things scattered about in the world. I don't think they've changed much in the interviews and such. They've said it's the exact same Alan Wake experience you remember.
There? Please, I've been in an accident.
But I am tempted to run around and check everything anew. I'll try not to waste too much time. Alright, coming up on the lumber yard. Where is that gas station? There it is. We're going all the way around, apparently.
The lights up ahead were a good sign. Maybe I wouldn't have to hike all the way down to the gas station to find a phone.
I found your hat and earmuffs and visor. I found 3 things. Would you like it? I'm assuming I'm going that way up over the fence, but let's check back here real quick. Just to make sure. Nothing. Alright. How many times, seeing the question in the chat there, how many times have you played through this game? And follow up, what about it draws you back in so often? I've probably played it all the way through 3, 4 times. Not excessively. Though, running about collecting stuff in my initial playthrough probably counts as a couple more times through. And what draws me back to it is several things. One of them being that ever since I was a child, I always wanted to be an author. I always wanted to make stories, and the whole idea of this, the creative power of Cauldron Lake, allowing an author to affect the reality of the world, is super exciting to me. And just the idea that, you nerdily sitting in front of your typewriter, as I do so often here, with my elbow patches, can be a cool, badass action hero. Like, it's cool to be an author. You're blowing folks away.
Hey, you!
I've always just liked the feeling of it in that way.
I need help.
It's also the most gorgeous combination of Stephen King and Twin Peaks tropes. So it's one of my favorite kinds of stories.
Treat you. Non-refundable reservation deposit required. Fair and square.
Is the never-ending story also a favorite narrative by those terms? Yeah, absolutely. Though in my version, nobody dies. Nobody dies traumatically in a bog, in my version. Carl, I'm concerned that you might be having some laryngitis, or perhaps bronchitis. I don't mean to diagnose, but you sound funny, bro. A manuscript page. Tell me.
The Taken stood before me. It was impossible to focus on it, as if it stood in a blind spot caused by a brain tumor and eye disease. It was bleeding shadows like ink underwater, like a cloud of blood from a shark bite. I was terrified. I squeezed the flashlight like my life depended on it, willing it to stop coming any closer. Suddenly something gave, and the light seemed to shine brighter.
Alright, we're going this way. Watch your anks. Peeky, nothing but logs, and... Where are you hiding, Carl? Oh, that was spry. You must have stretched out before this. I see the light. Should we run for the light?
When he opened, I was as...
Carl! It's nice to see you there. Ah!
I had to figure a way out of this. Any second now, and Stucky would be knocking on the door with his axe like Nicholson in The Shining.
I think he just did. I think that's happening now. That second you spoke about, it was a couple ago. Alright, we got a weapon now. That's never a good sign. When you're completely unarmed, it usually means you're safe. Very funny that the batteries are now generic. It's one of the changes. Back in the day, they had an Energizer battery sponsorship, or whatever it would be. And so you would run around finding Energizer batteries. Which doesn't make a tremendous amount of plot sense, but was hilarious. I love how, like, commonplace the Taken dialogue is. It's not dark entities at your door going, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to rip your legs off and shove them someplace you won't like. They're just like, I have cabins for rent and my cholesterol is high. It's so creepy. I love it.
Yes.
Bright Falls Sheriff's Station. How may I...
I'd love to... Oh, report a... Oh. Fair enough. Carl? What have you done, Carl? Oh, shoot, Carl. You're gonna push me off the cliff into my death, okay? Well, that's not good. That's not good for the cabin's structural integrity. Carl, I'm displeased with the actions you've taken against my house. It was my one safe spot. What a turn on. Oh, smart, going behind it.
My head pounded with the concussion. I'd never fired a gun outside a shooting range, and now I just killed someone. Or something. There were no bodies.
Lumberjacks. It doesn't count.
If I was dreaming.
Lumberjacks don't have souls. Wait, do they? Alright, power's off. We can make it over that way. Have some light-activated paint guiding us. Ooh, ever further around the darkened corners.
It was revealed by my flashlight. Someone had hidden a chest of supplies near.
Symbol might look familiar to some of you. Oh, hey, flare gun. Missed you. Switch back to the revolver. I've learned. All right, here we go. Yes, that's the true horror story here. The high cholesterol levels.
I had to get to the gas station.
It's rabbit season.
Looks like there's a small shack up there. Assuming we're headed this way eventually, let's go check it. A manuscript page.
Rose knew she had been gushing, but right now she didn't care. As far as she was concerned, her brief meeting with Alan Wake was literally the high point of her life.
Well, that's tragic.
She watched as he got in the car with his wife.
Considering he was such a douche.
Confident, at ease with Wake. Not like Rose. They were perfect for each other. She'd have given anything to be called their friend.
I'm just gonna go ahead and I'll make it easy for you, Rose. You are our friend. I don't mean to take away your one goal in life, something to strive for, but you've reached it. We're buddies. I love you, Rose. Headed downhill. Past more what's sure to be alive construction equipment, but luckily one of the treads is broken, so it won't be able to follow us. Thanks to that sabotage team who came through.
What the hell was that?
It's always a fun sound to hear in the middle of the forest at night.
When I saw the river below, something uncoiled itself inside my head. I realized that I'd have to find a way across. I didn't even want to look at the water.
Alright, let's check the island thoroughly. For thermoses. Yummy. That's gonna keep me awake. And there isn't... The manuscript pages light up, so sometimes when you see like a little break in the trees there with some light, I'm like, is that a manuscript page on top of the log? But no. Alright, heading this way. Seems to be another page there.
Barry Wheeler was bouncing off the walls. He jumped on a plane after his calls were ignored by both Al and Alice for several days. It could mean that
That's
they
interesting
were
already.
honeymoon.
Because we just spoke to Barry.
Al had been way too unstable for that. Not sleeping. Messed up. Barry had years of experience dealing with Alan Wake, and he couldn't ignore it. Something was wrong.
Yeah. Oh, something's definitely wrong, Barry. So we just talked to Barry on the ferry. The Barry ferry, we'll call it. And then we arrived at the cabin, and then I blacked out. So Barry according to my manuscript, which I don't remember writing, has waited several days and has now traveled to Bright Falls, having not heard from us. So we know that at least several days must have passed, if that is true. Couldn't tell if he was behind me on that island. Where'd you go?
He was still out there, in the dark, stalking me.
Stalking me. Yummy. Thank you. Alright, looks like we're headed that way. Checking over here. Nothing, nothing. Yeah, this looks like a good place to get ambushed. Sure. And how do I get up? Stair steps? Small ladder? No, not for me. I guess he can jump. I always think he can't for some reason. It's such an old game. I'm like, oh, he can't jump. More of this light up paint. Typically these stashes seem to be the opposite direction from the main progress path, so I'll grab it first. Recent muddy treads, that's not good. But where is the stash? I've lost the paint, it seems. Aha, here. Perhaps on an upper level. I always forget when you see the paint in your flashlight, that diver sound, like the breath of Tom the poet, can be heard in the background, just barely. It's such a nice effect. Sort of soothing. Yes, you're getting close to the stash I left for you. As far as I understand, I should wait to make that statement. I know we've played through this before, but I don't mean to spoiler it in the middle for people who have not seen it yet. But I'll make a comment later about who's leaving these supplies for Alan, if I remember. Okay, should be able to go back this way now. And follow the logs. Follow, 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 follow the yellow brick logs. This cliff is suspicious to me. Reveal your secrets, Cliff. I'm just now noticing I have my flare gun equipped. That would have been fun.
The staircase
that would have been
broken.
explosive.
I had to make my way up some other way.
At the very top of those stairs, there's another collectible I need to keep my eyes out for. There's these little pyramids of cans that you can knock over. And I don't remember why. Like, I think it gets you something. There's at least an achievement. But I don't remember why you're knocking over the pyramid cans. There's some reason. Alright, reach the path above. We have this log bridge that we'll need to put in place. Does that mean there's a generator somewhere?
There was no power. There was bound to be a generator somewhere at the logging site.
Give me just one moment here. I'm going to run to the restroom and I'll be right back. Do pardon. Well, hello, hello. So sorry. That's what I get for drinking so much coffee. Pardon me. Alright. I'm on camera. Good. My physical form has replaced itself. So, seeing a light back there, that might be the generator. We don't need to go up there until the bridge is in place. Let's check back here. For coffee. Good check,
All
Alan.
this forestry equipment around. There had to be something I could use to reach the top.
Alright, not seeing any pages. Let's head towards the generator. Check this little building as well. Alright, we got 3 of them. I tried. Alright, generator there. I'll be right back. Page.
I heard them before I saw them, swooping down from the sky and screeching as they came. I spun around just as the cloud was upon me. For an instant, I stared into 100 dead eyes, black pearls glittering in the darkness. I raised the flashlight and the swarm exploded like fireworks. Feathers burned, turned into ash. I couldn't hear my scream above theirs.
It's very dramatic. Generator? I barely know her. How dare you? Aha, shotgun. That ought to come in handy for emergency beef dudes, let's call them. Oh god, it's an emergency beef dude. Get the shotgun. You know, it's one of those situations. Alright, now we can lower our bridge into place. Also more light scattered about, now that the generator is on. Golly, I appreciate that. We still need to get back up there. I'm assuming we will after we cross the bridge, no problem. Can't forget my can pyramid. Ooh, thrilling gameplay. Could move just a little faster. I know for realism this is probably fine. For gameplay purposes, it could be a little faster. It's fine. I love this game though, like the reviews for the remastered version have been coming out, and they're very like, you know, the combat is a little dated. He's not very fast. And it's like, yeah, that's how it's always been. He's an author. He's not an action hero. And so he can't run very far, and he can't really shoot very quick, and that's okay. That's what the game is. Jeez, I am not aiming well. So sorry. It should be an easily makeable gap. Ha-ha! If you just don't wildly go off to the side at the last second. So I think that all of the... Ouch. It's a very slippery can. I think that all of those things about it that the reviewers are calling outdated are like the actual charm and uniqueness of the game. I, in fact, like how poorly it plays. Because that's how I would be with my elbow patches in the forest. Alright, there may be something up there, or that may be where we're supposed to go. Let's assume that's where we're supposed to go. Yum.
Well, I was just outside for a breath of fresh air, and what a night. I know most of you are probably in your beds by now, but if you're still up
It is
and
lovely,
around,
isn't it?
take a moment. Step outside for a spell and breathe in deep. The weather is absolutely still. The sky
misty.
is crystal clear. It's like
good soup.
The forest is quietly breathing along with you. As you listeners know, I'm a night owl, and it's on nights like this I wish I wasn't cooped up in the studio. Makes an old man like me wish I could just roam wild. But here I am, and who'd keep you company all night long if I weren't? It looks like I'm not the only one staying up late. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, Pat, it's Maurice Horton.
It sounds so appropriate to drink coffee during these radio segments. It's like a wonderful ritual.
Out there.
Sure, but Pat, the reason I called is that Toby heard something rustling.
You gotta hold it with 2 hands, though, for the proper effect.
Probably a rabbit.
Sure. Toby loves rabbits.
Well, sure.
Anyway, I figured that, if anyone runs into Toby, they could grab him. My number's on his collar.
And Toby's a friendly dog?
Toby loves...
Yeah, not really. Oh no, he'll bite your hand right off.
Far from home, and it sounds like he went pretty wild there. Great dog, but he was just too dumb for his own good.
Well, Maurice, it's out there now. Hope Toby comes home soon.
Yeah, thanks, Pat.
You have a good night now.
Alright, we'll be on the lookout for Toby. Good boys need to get home safe. That's my motto. Paint. Hello, Paint. Alright. Up the hill. Yes. It's interesting with the increased foliage density they've added. It's a little bit harder to see some of the pages. Makes it more fun.
Accident. The book I couldn't remember was either a terrible and true prophecy or an act of creation that had rewritten the world. I began to hunt the pages feverishly, for they held the answer to the mystery. With it, I could save myself. With it, I could save Alice.
Okay, getting closer to that gas station. We started clear over there somewhere, so we've made pretty good progress.
The gas station was closer now, its light welcoming in the darkness.
Paul makes the best dogs in the state. Belly Burster is the best with no contest. Monster dog.
Just a quick list of hot dogs.
The famous dog is...
It's so quirky. Something lit up back here. I'm not sure if it's a page or what. Oh, I'd love for that battery to come back. Okay. Checking up here. Yes, definite page. We'll just ignore the haircut.
I stepped into the gas station's garage. It was dark and quiet. The place was a mess. It looked like someone trashed the place or that there'd been some kind of fight. Light spilled into the room through an open door at the back, and I made my way toward it. Without any warning, I was blinded by a bright light. An old portable TV on the shelf had come alive by itself. Impossibly, I could see myself on the screen, talking like a madman.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. It sounds like good TV. So this almost seems like the way forward, now that I think about it. I thought that manuscript page was off to the side, but let's give a little bit more of a check out here. If that is in fact the way to go. Some of these areas can, like, infinitely spawn. Good. Can infinitely spawn taken, which isn't great. But if you want those collectibles, you have to deal with the infinite take. Back off. Come on now. I have places to be, you have places to be, let's just stop this nonsense. Ow! That was where my head used to be before you put a hatchet there. Machete? Not sure what that is. Alright, we got the coffee. Anything else scattered around? That's the sign. Oh, the dense underbrush prohibits my search. Yay. Safe spot. Alright, don't need any more batteries. We're headed back that way. And I can hear them breathing. I don't remember that sound before. Like, I can actually hear the Taken, like, sneaking up on me with their breath now. That must have always been the case. Hey. Stay back. Almost there. No need to waste ammo. Ah. All right. Going this way. That looks like a point of no return. Not seeing anything I might have missed. Let's no return it. Ooh, the creaking of the trees, too, is like very noticeable now. Ouch. You made a landslide and hurt me. That was clever. More flare gun. I'll always take it.
I never touch salad, though. A man like me needs a hefty meal. That's for the day.
There must be some sort of similarity between whatever makes the Taken do that, whatever makes them aggressively announce whatever's on their mind at the time. That must be similar to what happens with the hiss incantation in Control. Like one idea bled into the other for Alan. Gentlemen, can I assist you? Almost down to the shack. We got a page here as well. Somebody did not secure their logs very well. Or it's quite windy. I'm not sure which.
Cauldron Lake? She asked. The sheriff looked at me suspiciously. The early morning light flooded through the office windows. I would probably never have gotten out of the woods alive without her help. But I couldn't tell her the truth of what I'd faced the previous night. She'd think I was lying or crazy. She'd lock me up, and she wouldn't help me find Alice.
Just imagining you putting honky in your tea now. That's all I can think about. I like my tea with a little honky. Do you have any fresh honky? Alright, that should open the gate. Let's use the TV first. Don't need any more batteries, though I'll keep trying to stuff them in my pants.
Science.
Yay!
It bestows immortality on those those who advance it to elevate all of mankind.
Oh, I love Night Springs.
Einstein, Sagan, princes among men. But the price for such a legacy is steep indeed. In Night Springs.
In Night Springs.
Tonight's episode, a quantum suicide.
One of my very favorites.
If our lives are already written, it would take a courageous man to change the script. Having called a press conference, Dr. Barclay Colvin is about to demonstrate that very courage.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I am Dr. Barclay Colvin.
And these are my sunglasses.
Many of you could join me here at the Moorcock Institute. Tonight,
how much more?
I'm going to give a practical demonstration of the many worlds interpretation. As you can see, this is a loaded 9mm pistol.
I see that it's loaded, yes.
Experiment. And now,
I have X-ray vision.
A real experiment, known as a quantum suicide.
Did he say suicide? Is that a real gun? He's kidding, right?
Please, stay calm. There is no risk. Observe what occurs when I place the weapon against my own forehead. Now, you might think this round is merely a dud. Not so. Observe the flower pot.
Well, that proves it.
I myself cannot be harmed with this gun. With each pull of the trigger, 2 new realities branch off. One in which the weapon didn't fire, and one where it did. With my machine here, I have ensured that this reality is always the former. I have bestowed upon myself quantum immortality. Under no circumstances can this gun kill me.
So wait. What you're saying is that every time you pull the trigger, in another reality, you die?
Yes, of course.
But who cares about those?
Trivial. There's an infinite number of things that could happen at any moment, and they always do happen somewhere. The point is, this one thing
He's unplugged it.
did not happen.
The buffoon!
Here.
You're insane, Colvin.
Insane? Insane?
Hey, was this thing supposed to be plugged in? I stumbled on it.
You fools! Gaze upon quantum immortality.
Poor
happy
Dr.
ending.
Colvin, felled by his own hubris or the ignorance of the masses. Perhaps he should have left the crate unopened, the decaying atom unobserved. Curiosity often kills the cat. In Night Springs.
Oh, that poor cat. What a wonderful show. I can't wait to see the rest of those again. It's always a joy, no matter how many times I see them. Alright, we didn't press the button yet. So sorry. Let's do it. There she goes. Nice gate. I don't know what the purpose of doing that is, but okay, I'll turn it off. Probably just to distract you so that you get ambushed more fully. There's something off this way. Nope. Just chain link. If that sort of thing excites you, well, you're in for a treat. Whenever you give me a big bucket full of ammunition, I'm happy. You know, I am happy in one sense. I'm also quite sad.
As you might think, it can be dangerous. It requires patience.
Hey, Carl. Can I ask you something?
The engine takes hours to cool. Is it easy and fatal? Mistakes don't make. Can you before? This place cool.
Just needed one more.
As
Alright, next wave. And Carl. Carl, are you in the next wave? Get back here. This would probably be the time to use that shotgun for beef boys I was talking about. Carl Stuckey, certified beef boy. Oh, that pole really hampered my light effectiveness. Carl, just stand still. We don't have all night. Oh, so close. Hey, buddy. Got him. Thanks, beef shotgun.
Stuckey's body vanished,
All
leaving behind only a lifetime of nightmares.
Let me wait on that just a second. I want to make sure I give this
the gas
a thorough look. And also reload my revolver. All right. There's only like 2 little corners I haven't explored, but let's make sure there's no coffee. Sorry, Alan. I'm whipping you about from place to place. I'll let you catch your breath now. You're just a man. Not seeing anything scattered in here. Definitely no light up paint. But there's an awful lot of little nooks and crannies that could be taken advantage of. Makes me wonder. It leads me to wonder about you, Jawaharlal. Why am I getting a call? Who would dare to disturb my cell phone's peace and slumber? Alright, no coffee found. Let's go open the gate. Thank you for bearing with me, though. Alright, there's the gas station right up there. I think we're nearing the end of this chapter. And we're coming up close on an hour and a half, it looks like. What great time we've made. Definitely is not a speed run with all of my inane comments slowing us down. That and the fact that we have to watch every episode of Night Springs in its entirety.
I recognized the parade float I had seen in Bright Falls when I first arrived with Alice.
Yeah, that's the one.
After the
Where are you
insanity I
hiding
just
the
experienced
secrets?
In the darkness, the lights of the gas station felt comforting. At least for a moment, the sane world reasserted itself.
I always feel like a gas station is comforting sanctuary. Yeah. That's where I would seek out safety and solitude. Need a float? Call the professionals. And the rest is too small to read. Alan, squint. Squint for me. See if that helps. Try squinting. No, you're too selfish. You're too much of an egomaniac to squint for me. Okay.
He spat on the garage floor and tried to shake the cobwebs from his head.
Why?
Ever since the couple never showed.
That's the floor.
Things had been fuzzy.
It's not for spitting.
Something. A feeling caught his attention. Stuckey looked up and stared as his brain tried in vain to process the horror before him. He stumbled back, knocking over a can of oil. A black pool spread across the floor while he struggled for a brief moment, then let go as the unrelenting darkness engulfed him.
When you phrase it like that, Alan, it sounds like kind of a good time. I don't know.
The Deer Fest had been 2 weeks away when we arrived. If the day count on the banner was right,
There's
I was missing a whole
another
week
clue.
between the night we got here and now.
So we just arrived, left the ferry. We had one night of, well, it wasn't peaceful. We had one night And 7 days have apparently passed since then. And I was driving a car. I don't remember why. I don't remember where to. Stop asking me. So running off this way, I think, gets you infinitely attacked. I forget if there's one collectible down there. Let's check. There seems to be one collectible down here. Nope, not yet. Got excited. Alright, we won't miss out on our coffee. It's very important. Delicious. Nutritious? Question mark? Oh, that's a really bad spot for me. Why'd that happen? Oh, they got me. There's my one death for this playthrough. No more. Oh, thank you, checkpoint. That's not too bad.
The Deer Fest had been 2 weeks away when we arrived. If the day count on the banner was right, I was
so
missing
sorry.
a whole
Let's
week
try
between
that
the night
again.
we got here and now.
Oh, I'm very sorry if there's buffering there. Is that a global issue? I can try restarting the thing if
I
need
had
be.
to get inside the gas station to find a phone to call for
Do
help.
let me know. Alright, just grab this thermos and don't get so thoroughly bashed from both sides this time. That'd be great. Or I could get more thoroughly bashed from both sides. That works too. Alright, there should be 2 more that spawn when I get close. Let's take them out ahead of time instead of trying to grab the thermos. Anytime now. Okay, maybe it's different. I'll take it. I'll take different. There they are. Yikes. Jeez. Okay. So sorry. I don't remember being so bad at this, but here we are. Don't want to miss it, just in case.
The Deer Fest had been 2 weeks away when we arrived. If the day count on the banner was right,
Well, he's talking. He can't
between the
sprint,
night we
though,
got
so...
here
Ooh.
and now.
Okay, I don't know why I cannot get this one. Let's do this thing. Make it a little bit easier on ourselves, since I do think it takes away your ammo at the end of levels. Let's try this. Oh, he's so tired. It's gonna be okay, Alan. Just take a deep breath. It's gonna be okay. The different number of guys every time is strange. Back into the light. We should be fine now. So sorry about all
I had to get
that.
inside the gas station to find a phone to call for help.
Wonder if there's anything down that road, though. That'll put us back in danger. Let's go. Just don't die this time. That's my only advice to you, Alan. I know that I'm sort of in charge of that, but just don't die. glyph? No. Nothing. Thank you for bearing with me through this poor performance. The whooshing. The great whooshing of you're about to be attacked. Just magnificent. That never gets old. There must be something back here for them to put so much effort into it. Alright, maybe over there, maybe by the truck. Coffee? Anything? Huge disappointment for the viewers? Okay. Strange. I would think they would want to take advantage of all this space. And yet... seemingly nothing back here at all. That's a little weird. But alright. Wasted a whole bunch of ammo for no reason. But it's at the very end of the level. Come closer. I want to smell you before you die. Pungent. Alright, gas station time. So sorry for the delay. Some more restrooms back there, in case anyone's in need. Imminent need.
The garage was a mess. It looked like someone had trashed the place, or that there'd been some
I
kind
read
of
something
fight.
about that. It's just like in my stories.
I'll write. I'll keep writing. Outside there's only darkness. Outside the cabin, outside the story, there's only darkness. I can feel her presence in the dark. Just now, I could smell her perfume in the room. I'll reach her, I'll fix it up. I'll bring her back. The story will come true. If I stop, she's lost.
I don't believe this. It'd been me on the TV, talking crazy. Was I losing my mind?
Nordic walking. Why, it has incontestably proven health benefits. Let me explain some of them to you. The cholesterol thing we've talked about. It can definitely lower your high cholesterol, but you have to walk quite Nordically. That's the secret. September 15th to 18th. Games and activities. Raffle tickets. Fishing competition. It's fierce. Pie contest, even fiercer, and surprise competitions. That's just who can be like, the best, I guess. Live music, and for the children, buck-toothed Charlie afternoons. What are those? What are buck-toothed Charlie afternoons? And Montgomery the Mystic's amazing Phantasmagoria evenings. Don't miss the legendary parade. I mean, the parade sounds cool, but you've got to tell me more about this Nordic walking. I am enthralled by the concept of it. Ah, you'd think this would be lucky, but no. No such thing in the life of Alan Wake. Watery. I cannot wait to visit Watery. We know from Control that this is where Ahti vacations when he disappears from the maintenance room. And he leaves you in charge of maintenance and says, I'm going to go on my vacation. He goes to Watery, which is just down the river. Time to use the phone. I've rambled enough. Thank you for enjoying Chapter 1 with me.
Sheriff Station.
It's been a pleasure. Sheriff Sarah Walker. Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, thank God, Sheriff.
Sheriff Sarah Breaker, you are...
I'm Alan Wake, but listen. I was in a car crash. My wife, Alice, she's missing.
Calm down, Mr. Wake.
We were staying in a cabin on the island, on Cauldron Lake.
There's no island on Cauldron Lake, not since the big eruption in the 70s.
Please, I can take you there, okay?
You look like you've taken a pretty bad knock to the head.
Yeah, I got a little noggin knock.
Are you okay?
That's for sure.
Listen.
We'll figure this out. Please get in the car. We'll swing by the lake and then we'll go to the station, okay?
Maybe the hospital first, too,
Mr.
but
Wake,
yeah,
have you
I'm
seen
in.
Stucky, the guy who owns this place?
I shot him with a shotgun. He's a real beef boy, if that's what you're asking.
Me. And then she wouldn't have helped me with Alice.
This is so gorgeous. This doesn't look like the hospital. And that doesn't look like there's an island. And if there's no island... I hate to skip Roy Orbison, but there we go. I don't have the rights.
I thought maybe you could write here.
I don't want to hear it. God damn it, Alice. Now, she's missing. Alice? Alice? I woke up behind the wheel of a crashed car. I'm missing a week. I was attacked by shadowy men straight from a nightmare.
Nightmare men straight from the shadows.
Alice and I had stayed at. But the cabin had disappeared.
Or maybe it never even existed. 3 years ago in New York City. Let me take you back. Fill you in on some details. So, a long time ago, I used to go purchase groceries for myself and bring them back in a paper bag. Not so anymore. No, I'm too rich for that now.
Honey!
Best-selling author Alan Wake here.
How was it?
Worst weather I've ever seen.
You should put some coffee on. It'll warm you up.
Oh, should I? That does sound nice. Did I buy coffee? Is that in my bag here? Nope, it's all... manga? Is it? I can't tell. I think I bought a lot of manga. There's another QR code. New York has never looked better. Nice to see you again. Cold, gray, opposite building from me.
The continuing freezing rain and heavy snowfall have necessitated a winter storm warning in the entire tri-state area. People are advised to stay indoors as many roadways are already closed.
My wallpapering job was not very smooth. I have to scold myself for that later.
Not expected to clear up anytime soon.
It sounds like a dreadful snowy weekend, upon which perhaps Max Payne 2 takes place. I don't know. I don't know if there's any technical connection. Please do not recycle? Oh, that's not very good for the environment. What? All right. About that coffee. But first, a long, luxurious bubble bath with candles. I bet you can't guess the scent. It's darkness. A candy-colored cloud they call the Sandman. Tiptoes through my scented candles of darkness. I don't think these are the lyrics. Here are the rest of my books. The Fall of Casey. I'll point them out for you. The Things That I Want. That starred Mel Gibson. Alex Casey. What I Can't Forget. And Return to Sender. Those were all preceding The Sudden Stop, my latest novel. Such a gorgeous cover. So I gotta look up online what's behind these QR codes. I don't remember there being one in here at all, but there must have been one originally if they've now replaced it. The Sudden Stop one.
They say about the fall and the sudden stop at the end.
Let me read you some of my novel.
Here in the snow, while the lurid chain of scenes that had led me here kept playing in my head. A rerun of my own private snuff movie. A memory of my corpse. Alone at my own wake. Thinking in metaphors again. The femme fatale was gone. Only a sour taste remained of the kiss that killed me.
Oh, that's good stuff. That is, palpably pulpy. More, please.
This was a late goodbye. 13 years after I'd gotten my revenge, it had finally caught up with me. It had been a long time to bear the pain. My blood painted the snow red. A gruesome slushy dissolved all the scattered painkillers and leisurely dripped down to the sewer, mingling with the bile of the city, becoming one with it. I can see them now.
Go on.
My wife and my baby. Honey, I'm home.
So, quick recap on the vocal cast, which is sort of tied up in an ongoing secret of sorts in my mind, because this is... I'm terrible with the actors' actual names, but the voice actor who just read for Alex Casey is the same voice actor as director Zachariah Trench in Control, your predecessor of sorts. And he's also Max Payne from the Max Payne series. So Max Payne is Zachariah Trench, is Alex Casey. Meanwhile, Alan Wake is Dr. Darling. They share the same voice actor. So there's something about, in the grand cosmic scheme of things, these roles, like I was saying, the filmmaker, the director, the writer, also applies in some sense to the voice cast being reused in those specific roles. There's some grand picture behind it all that's just barely out of focus. But it's, at face value, always a pleasure to see our friends.
This is gonna be a long night, but these shots
Or hear
are
our friends.
great.
I guess you're gonna need that coffee then. I'll go put it on.
Even though there's some literally right here, I'll go make you some new coffee. That'll be fine for me. I like odd jobs. No, I genuinely do. Set up your TV, Alan, you lazy such and such. How are we going to watch our programs? Like Night Springs. Set it up. What a turn on. Let's do it.
Coffee's on.
Great, thanks. I'll need it if I'm gonna finish this by tomorrow.
Alan, you're too smooth. You're uncomfortably smooth. Could you grow it out a little? Could you just really strain it and try to grow something? Because I can't even look at you right now. I feel like I'm going to slip right past. Quite the blizzard out there. My old pots are going to be moist by the time this is done.
Oh, hey, I just finished those cover mock-ups. They're on your desk. Tell me what you think.
Oh, I'll go check them out.
No kidding. I didn't think you'd get them done this quickly.
Oh, they look great. I'll put my fingerprints all over them.
These look really good.
Oh, sure, until Barry gets his hands on them. Which, by the way, will happen over my dead body. The last time
Too
was
soon.
the last time. Oh, and speaking of Barry, he called. Alan?
Sorry, it's okay.
Please check the
No,
fuse
I
box.
got you. Shh, shh, shh.
I'm right here. I'm on it, honey.
Right back.
Please hurry.
I used the reassuring
Honey, it's a
shush
power
method,
outage.
which is a little,
I've got the flashlight.
Okay.
plagiarizing, but not plagiarizing, patronizing.
I'm sorry. I just...
Hey,
It just really spooked
Try
me.
not to shine this
Don't
directly
worry.
in your
We'll
eyes.
just break
There.
out the candles.
I know it's stupid, but it's just... Especially when I'm not prepared for it, you know? It gets to me.
Oh, yeah.
I love you.
Tell me a story, writer.
Okay.
A storyteller? I need paper for this.
The dark really spooked me, too. When it got really bad, my mom gave me this old light switch. She called it the clicker.
The clicker, huh?
Yeah. If I ever got scared of the dark, I could just flip the switch and a magic light would scare the monsters away.
Oh, sure.
Here it is.
Alan.
Maybe it'll help you, too.
Yeah, nice story, writer boy. You made that up right now, didn't you?
No. Seriously.
I love you, even if you are a liar. Thanks for this.
Yeah, that's sort of how you animate kissing. I'll take it. It's real close. Bright Falls. Present day.
How do you feel, Mr.
Gonna miss
Wake?
that blizzard.
Any
Gorgeous.
nausea, disorientation, anything like that? Mr. Wake, how are you feeling?
Lot of nausea. Lot of disorientation.
I'm okay. My head's fine. I had to lie about my headache and memory loss. He'd send me to a hospital for tests. I couldn't leave without Alice.
Very well. I don't think you have a concussion, but you've obviously been through quite a shock. You should take it easy for a couple of days.
That's a very fair point. I could not animate kissing any better. I don't know what I'm talking about. I take it all back.
If any worse or you experience any other symptoms, you should
I could animate kissing better than that. No, I would not even know where to begin. So, good job.
She's very good at her job. I'm sure she can locate your wife.
Leave any coffee in here for me?
Doc Nelson was the image of a small-town doctor. Sheriff Breaker had
Literally
called
wearing
into
a
the station
fishing
to take a
vest.
look at the
That's how you
cut in
know.
my head.
Thanks for your help, Doc. But, I'm out of coffee. And I'm about to get very aggressive. So you should go. This conference room is going to be destroyed by the time I'm through my withdrawals.
Just go down the corridor.
Gonna have to fix that. There's more coffee outside of my little play closet. I just shouldn't call it that. I'm sorry. Sorry those words came out of my mouth. I think these are the classic in most Remedy games. They have a contest for their fans to get your face in the game, your face and name, and these are usually contest winners in one of the early missions. There's one of these boards in Control, too, that has the exact same thing, contest winners on it. If you have seen any of these people, or know their whereabouts, please call. So, this was the sheriff's office? Yes. I'll come back there. Let me just check in with the reception desk.
Mr. Wake, the sheriff is waiting for you in her office down the corridor.
Wonderful. Thank you for that.
That was Cynthia Weaver. I guess you can call her the town eccentric. She used to be the editor of the local newspaper.
I must have missed her.
But she's focused on, other things these days.
She'd fit right in.
She's got a lot on her mind, yeah.
As you can see, she's a little obsessed with maintaining the light bulbs of the whole town, refuses to step on shadows, things like that. Back in her day,
Oh,
she
so
wrote
sorry about the
all
buffering.
sorts of
Hope
weird
you can
things in
catch
the
it later.
paper.
And
Bright
thank you for
Falls has
stopping
a
by.
colorful history. Of course, what small town hasn't?
All right. Quick check for goodies.
Yeah, it's Mulligan here. I'm at Stucky's gas station with Thornton. There's no sign
Probably
of
not
him.
allowed to touch this, but here we are.
Yeah, this is Thornton. Look, we've located the brave float. It's here. That's some good news, right? Stucky was supposed to be driving it at the rehearsals today. Over.
Oh, give me that. Mulligan here. Looks like someone really thrashed the garage. Over. Okay.
They really thrashed in the garage.
Stucky, chains out.
Hello, hello. Good morning to you, and welcome. Not seeing anything else in here. Ah, except for this manuscript page. Lovely.
Alice looked through the viewfinder, lining up the shot. Cauldron Lake was breathtaking. Something
Literally, you can drown in it.
Shadows behind the cabin, like a thin woman in a black dress. She lowered the camera and looked again. No one there. Just a collection of bushes that looked vaguely
In a
human-shaped.
thin black dress,
She shook
yeah.
her head and laughed.
Those bushes are wearing a dress. What a quirky town. No, that was Barbara Jagger. We gotta get out of here. That's...
The sheriff wants to see you in her office, Mr. Wake.
I'm finally ready for her. I think. We just try this door. I'm finally ready for her. Sarah? Knock, knock. I should really knock before I just burst in. This is a police sheriff. You should knock. Alan, you're so rude.
Come in, Mr. Wake.
All right.
Your phone's on the desk. The
I
battery
did.
was dead. It's charged now.
Thank you.
Have you started looking for my wife yet?
My men are already on it. Now, can you tell me what happened?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. We were arguing. I walked out of the cabin.
The cabin
Sarah
on
Breaker.
Cauldron Lake? How
Overachiever.
did you end up at Stucky's gas station?
I wanted to tell her what had happened last night, but I couldn't. She'd lock me up.
Because of the murders, you mean?
Excuse me.
Oh, yeah.
I need to take this. Hello?
Alan, please help me.
Alice?
Stop talking to the law. You'll do exactly what I say if you ever want to see your wife.
Who is this?
Go to the back lot. There's a hole in the fence on the left. Look inside the...
Oh, I'm uncomfortable with this
I
whole
left
thing.
a little something there to convince you we're all on the same page.
Ah, gross.
After you ditch the cops, you're gonna meet me in Elderwood National Park. There's a spot called Lover's Peak. Midnight.
Ah, you and I are going to meet at Lover's Peak at midnight? Ah. I know what this is all about.
Mr. Wake,
I know
can I
what
help you
you
with
want
anything?
from me.
I need to
At
get
Lover's
some air.
Peak.
The sheriff said I could go out back.
Of course, Mr. Wake. You can get there through the cell corridor. Just don't mind Walter in there. He's one of our regulars.
Oh, I never mind Walter.
Oh, no such luck. He went on a bender and beat Danny pretty badly. He started shouting like that the moment he woke up.
Is Danny okay? Tell me
You
the
can get to
status of
back lot
Danny.
Through that door and down the corridor, Mr. Wake.
I don't care how to get out. How is Danny? Is he in the ICU? Or are his legs
Parking lot is
both
through
broken?
That door and down the corridor. Pay no attention to Walter Snyder on your way.
Hey, Walter Snyder, I'm going to pay attention to you.
The light's on. The deputies, they won't.
Yeah.
They don't understand.
I just left
They
you in the
won't listen
dark?
to me.
That's terrible.
Thank you,
Here you go, my friend.
Hey, you're all right. You're a good guy. Don't let anybody tell you different. You know, I shouldn't even be in here. The cops, they got it all wrong. See, sure, I beat him up, but I wasn't drunk. I mean, I wasn't drunk at the time. I only got drunk afterward. Okay, listen.
To forget.
Listen,
I understand.
You gotta listen carefully now. Here's the kicker. That wasn't Danny. No, sir.
Who was it?
You wanna know who it really was? I'll tell you who it really was.
Tell me.
It was a goddamn space alien!
Ah!
I know it sounds like something a drunk would say, but believe me, I wasn't drunk then.
I believe you, Walter. I've had a similar experience with people who look like other people being filled with a saucy tar sort of substance and scratching at me. I know exactly where you're coming from. I might suggest laying down, though you don't appear to have... Oh, there's the cot. It's very dark. How about we lay down on the cot, Walter? Before we bust our head open. Maybe? Alright, it's up to you.
In spite of its human mask, to describe the dark presence as intelligent would have implied human qualities on something decidedly inhuman. Nonetheless, it found the one spot in the diner that was dark enough. Some light spilled into the corridor, ravaging it. but it took the pain. Horrible as it was, the writer would soon fix that. He would be coming to the one place where it still had power.
I don't think your number's the same as my number.
The early morning light hurt my eyes and made my head ache. The man on the phone had said, go through the fence on the left.
All right. Fence on the left. We'll be right there. Just let me catch up with the news.
Well, folks, it's been another long night.
Saucy news.
Sign off for a while. God knows I need my beauty sleep. Just one more item before I go. It's been a busy night for the sheriff's department. We've had a few broken windows, even a report of shots fired on Main Street. Deputies Mulligan and Thornton had to deal with two intoxicated young men who were celebrating the completion of their Deer Fest float. Now, folks,
these intoxicated young men these days.
It's exciting that the big day's almost here, but let's save it for the party and leave the gunplay for the shooting competition, huh? There's no point in getting all worked up yet.
Quick jiggle. That's what I like to hear.
The caller had told me to find a hole in the fence behind the police station. There was something for me in an abandoned car.
But I want to steal medical supplies. I'm low on morphine, and I'd like to change that. All right, going through the fence. I'm impressed. All that running through the forest, thighs pumping, is finally come in handy.
And the shadow vanished into the darkness it had come from. See? Nothing to it, Wake. The thought of Alice in his hands was revolting. We stood on the wooden platform of Lover's Peak, the waterfall and the mountain behind us, the lights of the radio mast blinking red in the heights above. I fought with the urge to take a swing, force myself to speak. Let's cut the act now. Where's my wife?
Where's my wife? Say it like that. Try it like that. I think it'll be fun. When you get there, when you get up to the kidnapper, it's not time yet.
Alice's driver's license.
Where's my... Yeah, put some...
The caller meant business.
Barry?
Ow! Ow! Thank God! Where the hell have you been? I've been trying to reach you for a week. You and Alice. Oh, I've been worried sick.
We've been busy.
I'm here in Bright Falls.
We've been
Barry,
canoodling?
I'm at the sheriff's station. Come and get me. I can't talk now.
Ow! What the hell is going on?
I had to get the sheriff to let me go. I needed to get to Elderwood National Park.
Barry's coming to rescue me. I love it when Barry comes to rescue me. It's like my second favorite thing in the world. Oh good, he's finally asleep. That's a better position for your head.
The world of his story from darkness, shapes it from nothingness. The way a sculptor carves a statue from a block of granite. If I stop, the world I'm making dies. Darkness will reclaim it. It's a long, hard journey into the dark. Alice's life is at stake, but I can't think about that, or I'll lose it. The dread lingers at the edge of perception. I'll push on. Anything is possible here. I'll write the story. I'll save her.
Marvelous, Sarah. I just wanted to settle all the damage the Anderson brothers inadvertently caused.
The good doctor. I will not face you. I turn away.
Mr. Wake?
I'd like to leave. Am I free to go?
Well,
am I being
we still
detained?
Need to talk about...
Am I under arrest?
No, of course not. But I need to know where you'll be staying so I can get in touch with you.
I'd avoid the motel. The Majestic
Staying with
is
your
known
mom.
for its roaches. The cabins at Elderwood are pretty nice, though.
Mrs. Breaker?
I'm Dr. Emil Hartman. I'd like to invite you to stay at Cauldron Lake Lodge.
Did you talk
thank
to
you.
my wife?
I had the pleasure of discussing your situation with her on several occasions.
Did you set something up with her?
I
hate to say this, but he looks good
My clinic is a place
compared to the last time I saw him.
Hey, take it easy.
Looks pretty good.
Hey, nobody move! Get your hands
Look at that
off
leg
of my
hair.
client. Who are you?
So
I'm
high
Barry
def.
Wheeler, his agent. If you have business with Mr. Wake,
Looks
you
great.
talk to me. You yokels won't know what hit you once I sick my lawyers on your asses.
No harm done, Sarah. I'm all right. I don't want to press charges. Mr. Wake, my offer still stands.
Unlike you. Bam! And then he sits down again. No, it didn't go that way. Darn it.
What the hell was that about, Al? We don't need a replay of that thing with the paparazzi. I thought they were gonna lock you up.
I had to talk to someone. I told Barry everything. He thought I was certifiable, but when he heard about the manuscript, I had him. The fact that I'd written something, even if I couldn't remember it, was enough for him. He smelled money. And he believed that Alice had been kidnapped. Anything beyond that was another story. I had a midnight appointment with the kidnapper in a place called Lover's Peak, somewhere in Elderwood National Park. The plan was to rent a cabin.
I don't like it, Al. I don't
Let's
like
do it.
any of it. It's not good. In
Barry
fact,
and I
it's the
renting
absolute
cabins.
opposite of good.
I'm in.
Mr. Wake!
Oh, hey, Rose.
Barry, you found him.
Hi, Rose.
Oh, wow. I was just thinking about you, too.
Great.
I was just bringing Rusty some coffee. He's on the balcony, looking after Max. Poor thing. I really need to go. Great to see you again, Mr. Wake. Later!
Great to see you again, Rose. Alan's not going to say it because he's dealing with some emotional baggage right now, but I really liked to see you, Rose. Thanks for stopping by.
What an airhead.
Give me one moment, I'll be right back again. So sorry for the delay.
Jeez,
right.
Mr. Takes a swing at everybody. This is not her fault. She's a
Thank you for saying that,
nice
Barry.
girl and
She's not an airhead, Alan. How dare you?
She even has a fan
She's
site
trying her
dedicated to
best.
you.
Oh, so this is Buck-Toothed Charlie. Afternoons? Was it? Yeah. Buck-Toothed
Seriously,
Charlie
Al,
afternoons.
What you were saying in the car? Just listen to yourself.
Calm down,
What,
Alan.
you shot a guy and his body just disappeared? When was the last time you slept? What, are you high? Have you been drinking?
No! Look, Barry,
Yes, to all
I'm missing
three.
a week, and someone's got Alice.
Do you
and everything's
understand
just...
what it sounds like when you say stuff like that? Don't get me wrong, it's a good story, could be a bestseller. But when you start confusing fiction with reality, you're buying yourself a ticket to the funny farm.
Wait here.
That's an abrupt end to that conversation, but sure. I'll take it. Quick check for goodies. The skeleton of a Columbian mammoth, a Mammothus columbi. This specimen, estimated to be 14,000 years old, let's take a little care when we're touching it, was recovered from the La Brea tar pits in 1981. It was donated to the Elderwood National Park in 1998, when the Columbian mammoth became Washington's state fossil. Named Buck-Toothed Charlie, it has since become the park's official mascot. And you too can buy Buck-Toothed Charlie plushes. You'll say they're for your children, but we all know you don't have any children and it's for you. So that's fine. You can be honest about it, but you don't have to be. That's our motto here at Elderwood National Park. Yum. And that's it. No more yum. Alright, headed out to the balcony. To the mezzanine. I hope you got your seats.
Easy there, boy.
Hey, Max.
Done.
Hey, Rusty, right?
Oh, what happened to you?
Oh, Mr. Wake. I'd shake your hand, but mine are kind of full here. Actually, I'm sorry
Understood.
about this. Would you mind grabbing the registration form from the desk? It's just across from Bucktooth Charlie.
Okay,
Oh, sure.
Sure.
Max, you hang in there,
What
buddy.
happened? Crazy poachers. Max here got his foot caught in a trap. They're illegal to use here. Hell, you're not supposed to hunt within the park at all. But that doesn't stop some lowlifes. Well, at least Max is gonna be okay. He got lucky.
Of course he is.
Max
Of
is
course
still
he's gonna
groggy
be
from the shot I
okay.
gave him, and I'd rather not
Especially
leave him
if we
alone
can just
yet.
position him
The form's
just...
on the desk across from the mammoth skeleton. Okay, boy.
That's nice.
We're almost done.
Seriously, Al, you can't just go and meet a kidnapper. Those situations always end up
Why
in
not? I'm
disaster.
armed.
You
Come
gotta
on.
talk to the cops.
She's my wife, and it's my call. Can we talk about this later?
No, this whole thing. Listen, you hit your head. I mean, geez, Al, come on. You gotta understand how crazy all this sounds. If you're trying to pull a joke on me, freak me out, it's working. Ha ha! Let's have a laugh on Barry. Well, you had me going there real funny, Al. You can quit it now.
I am seeing the question in the chat there. Does Max die? I can't handle it if Max dies. As devastating as it is to say, I don't think I have good news for you. And we're gonna have to just run right past it and pretend it didn't happen in the headcanon, because, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why he got extra kisses right off the bat, because he's such a good boy. And I love him dearly.
I think this is the form you wanted.
And
But
here
yes,
are the
if
keys.
there is
Okay, you're all
a
set, Mr.
warning
Wake.
needed,
Glad to have you stay.
consider this
Thanks.
the warning.
Can you tell me how to get to Lover's Peak?
I don't remember
Sure.
exactly when
It's at the end
we
of the
come
nature
back.
trail. Just follow the
to
paths,
this-
you'll get
this
to it
place.
eventually. It's an easy walk. Nice spot too.
Thank you. I'll
If
see you
have
soon.
trouble finding it, just keep your eyes on the radio mast. It's right below.
I see
that.
it.
Oh, and hey,
Nice.
if you take a walk in the woods, watch your steps so you don't end up like Max. I guess
Bear
I'm a little
traps.
worried.
Got it.
We got a bunch of campers out there we haven't heard from. It's not like these people are on a schedule, but with the traps, well, you know. I just don't want any trouble.
Right. Thanks.
Radio mast, you said? I still see it there. I'll keep it in mind. Okay.
Look, Al.
We're ready, Barry.
You're asking me to believe that you shot a dude who went poof into thin air.
Yeah.
A guy who was
I shot a dude who went
until you
poof.
pointed a flashlight at him.
Is that so hard to
You
believe?
hear that from people who end up spending time in padded rooms, strapped to their beds, wearing white shirts with too long tangled up sleeves, and eating a healthy diet of pills. Al, you make cruel jokes about people who believe that kind of stuff. You're the skeptic. You gave me an hour-long lecture on homeopathy last month. What was it? If there's no proof, it's pure bullshit. Period.
Guess the laugh's on me then.
Al, come on! I mean, okay. Okay, maybe something weird happened to you, okay?
Well, thanks for the heartfelt vote of confidence.
All I'm saying is you gotta throw me a bone here, bestseller. What
I
would you
can't.
think if it
Max
was
is
me?
chewing it.
There's no way you should be going out at midnight with a gun.
No one asked you to come here, Barry. Either work with me on this or go straight back to New York. Your choice.
I'm assuming that's a you're gonna work with me on this? I'm gonna take that as a yes. I'm sorry to put you through all this, Barry. I know it's hard to believe.
That's just crazy talk, Al. Al? Al? We should go to the sheriff or call the FBI.
Damn it, Barry, they'll kill her. This is not a
And this
goddamn
lamp,
debate.
too.
I'm going to Lover's Peak. He said to come alone.
Okay,
He
okay
wants
then.
to love on me.
I understand. You're my best friend, and I'm worried that you're not right in the head. Tell me what to do to help, and I'll do it.
You stay here, and if I'm not back by morning, call the cavalry.
The literal cavalry, with horses and trumpets. Bugles, at best. Don't give them trumpets, that's too much.
Just be careful with the natives, Al. These yokels are dangerous. Everybody
Alright,
hates
let me
a
see if you
tourist.
have reaction
Totally
times.
deliverance all over again.
Yeah, totally do. Oh, that's my flashlight. Oh, now it's going to be less effective because it's coated in gook.
In here, spores, poison ivy, God knows what. This is so not worth a 15% commission.
15%? Jeez, Barry. You're killing me here. Do you know what kind of taxes I have to file on that? I don't. That's why I pay you 15%. So you tell me. Should we take a little of this? Should we take a little for the road? No? No wine? Aw, sober? That's my least favorite. This fish does not sing. Please do not ask it to do so. There you go, Barry. Love you. No, I'm sorry. I'll turn it back on. That's rude. Smooches. Alright. So these were the cabins we were supposed to end up at. These are actually, like, Carl Stuckey's cabins, I think. And it's actually a place that exists in the real world that you can get to physically, which is important. Unlike Bird's Leg Cabin. This well does not seem very effective. I can't put my finger on why exactly. There's something off about the well. Not seeing any collectibles back here. Oh good, there's some coffee. And a hot tub berry jackpot! You'll never guess what I found. Oh, we can't get to it though. You're locked away from the hot tub berry. Heading for Lover's Peak.
Here, Al. I'll hold down the fort. I'll be with you in spirit every step of the way, Al. Locking the door now.
Are you? Are you locking the door now? Barry, can I come back in? Oh, Barry, no. I'm locked. Help. I don't even know his, like, full name. Bairdward, please. What is Barry short for? Barishnikov? Is his name Barishnikov? Can we call him that?
Barry had never gotten along with Alice, but he knew Alan loved her with an almost frightening intensity. And now something had happened to Alice. And here was Al armed with a gun and saying things people got put in padded cells for. It was as if his friend had experienced a massive psychotic episode and was now totally disconnected from reality.
It was a lot like that.
Barry.
All right. Down the road we go.
I should have gone to the cops. This wasn't the smartest thing I'd ever done, but I was still angry with Barry for trying to talk me out of it. These people had called me right in the sheriff's station. The cops wouldn't scare them. And
shameless.
Alice.
The Elderwood National Park Visitor Center. Raccoons are getting antsy. As are the birds. Oh yay, there's power.
Welcome back to the show, folks. As promised, our very own Dr. Nelson has just parked his rear end in the studio. Doc,
Oh, tell me more. What's his rear end like? Describe it. Shapely? Question mark? Shapely? Please stop laughing now.
No plan, really. Just in the atmosphere. I'm getting a little too rickety to do much more than that, you know.
Oh, tell me about it. No sack race for us older gentlemen, huh?
Yes, exactly, Pat. But I'm going to check out the parade.
Can't tell if there's coffee in there. There might be.
Judges too.
Should we slurp it?
Well, that takes a different kind of constitution.
Oh, yeah, it's my kind of exercise.
Now, Doc, seriously, you're in pretty good shape, though. You're the outdoors type.
I know for a fact you're an avid Nordic walker.
That's right. Matter of fact, just caught a heck of a largemouth bass early this morning.
But you're not taking part in the fishing contest?
No, not this year. See, Pat, I'm just not that competitive anymore. Now I just like to take my time and enjoy the peace of it. It's no fun if I need to worry about what I'm catching, you know?
I can understand that,
your
sure.
track record, the participants are probably pretty happy you feel that way.
Well, Pat, that's kind of you to say.
And the conversation is over. No more. No commercial break. That's it. Get out. I suppose I should switch off the lights. I should be responsible. There. Alright, next cabin down. What do we got? This cabin is just a tire swing. Family size. Put the kids in the bottom. You and the missus can sit on the rope part, I guess. It's not a good place to stay. I didn't say it was a good place to stay. What's in here? Ooh, Moonshine Cave. We're gonna have to stop by. How dare they? How dare Magia do this? Thank you very much. That is incredibly kind of Magia. That was so satisfying. Oh, thank you for that animation. Somebody's made a right mess of it in here. There's like feathers and leaves floating in the air.
Crime and punishment. The cancer and cure of civilization. But some crimes are impossible to punish.
Oh, can't get a good angle on it.
Night Springs.
This will have to do.
Episode.
I love this one. Yeah, a little quality assurance on the Moonshine Cave is in order, I think.
He's inside, Agent. He's a weird one. So, you're confessing to killing that guy, huh? Why?
Why'd you do it?
Yeah, but why would you do that? I mean, you're a nice guy. Normal. Took a kid to a soccer game. So how come at the game, you pick a guy and, quoting from the arresting officer's report here, assault the victim's head area repeatedly with the weapon of choice being a pair of bare
Just his head area.
Wow, that sentence really flows, huh? Maybe you're not the literary type. Okay, so you mess him up. But why? Who was that guy? We couldn't ID him. Why would a guy like you do him like that?
I didn't like his face?
Well, you must have hated it.
Really didn't like his face.
I mean, there's no way to tell what he looked like. No ID on him either.
That must be difficult.
But then we ran the fingerprints. Got a match. Your prints. Identical.
Huh, how about that?
Your son said you were wearing a white shirt when you took him to the game. But the white shirt is on the dead guy.
It's plenty red now.
You won't get away with this.
Do you really think that's in any way relevant to me? I had plenty of time to talk to my boy before the cops arrived, you know? He won't stop screaming, am I right? You think he's ever gonna be okay? I left my mark. Believe me.
You bastard.
What? You gonna shoot me?
This is not protocol.
I'm going to prison. You got me.
I don't understand any of this.
And you never will. Don't worry. Maybe you'll see me again, Agent. Maybe in the mirror.
Fantastic. Alright. Nothing else in here. Oh, maybe not. I should be checking wardrobes more often, apparently. Hey, get out of here, birds! Nobody told you you could be hanging around, birding up the place. Alright, we have a little lookout point up there.
The air in the visitor center was heavy with an awful smell, as if some rotten drowned thing had crawled up from its grave. Rusty kept coughing blood. My eyes were drawn to the twisted shape of his broken leg. The attack had been vicious. Max whined in his cage. Rusty's eyes were wild with fear and terror. He gasped. "Mr. Wake, it happened just the way it was on that page."
Alright, checking up here. Do not feed the wildlife. They're wild for a reason. Stop domesticating them. Hooray! Not the button.
Rose knew that Rusty was in love with her, and she liked him too. She liked him a lot. He taught her to dance, and life had certainly taught her the value of a man who was gentle. He treated her well, made her smile, made her feel good. But Rusty wasn't the prince of her dreams, and that tended to underline the unbearable truth. She was no closer to that Hollywood magic than he was.
Oh, no one's closer to that Hollywood magic. We're all just shameful bog beasts, that's all. Fallen Rock Zone. Maybe not that
good. The vision left me weak. This was no head injury.
Something's happening.
Rusty, hang on! I'm coming! Please, help me!
Keep your legs away from it. I think that's where they'll try to get you. I'll be right there, Rusty. I just have to thoroughly check the outbuildings for coffee. I know it seems selfish, but it's very important. Oh, he's suffering. Oh, God, I wish we could help him instead of searching for collectibles. Rusty.
Hello?
Ah, buck-toothed Charlie's spread all over the place. Oh, no.
Please help me.
That's a lot of blood, Rusty.
Mr. Wake?
Oh, hell.
It happened. Just the way
I
it was
read
on
about
that
this,
page.
but shit, to see it live. Oh.
Came true. It knew.
I love you, Max.
So dark.
I love you so
Come back
much.
for me. You must... The lights. In the office. I have the key.
Okay, Rusty. Hang on. I'll be right back. Whatever did this couldn't be far.
I'm just gonna take your gun, your side piece. Thanks, Rust.
Help me understand what had happened.
Alright, Max, I love you so much, and I think that you're special, and I will cherish you in my heart for some time. Alright, so lights must be in the other building across the way. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can... I don't want to go down this same road again. Okay, we're just gonna do it. Just gonna get it over with.
The only way to make sure that Rusty was safe was to get the power running and the lights back on. The visitor center was sturdy, but the impact turned the front of the building into splinters. Rusty was thrown across the lobby like a rag doll and hit the far wall hard. It didn't hurt until he tried to move and saw his leg bend the wrong way, felt the broken ribs stabbing him on the inside. Rusty howled in pain and fear, suddenly afraid to die alone.
We're all afraid to die alone, Rusty. But every single one of us does.
At the last instant, I changed direction and threw myself down. The axe splintered the trunk of a tree. I stumbled into the pool of bright light. My lungs burned. I was too exhausted to move. I tensed as I waited for the killing blow, but it never came. I raised my head. Nothing moved in the darkness beyond. For the moment, bathed in the cold light, I was safe.
Alright, a little bit of ammo. That looks like it must be... Oh, there's an axe in it. Okay. That's probably what I'm supposed to interact with. Let me just check this door, since there was a page in front of it. What have you done?
It was too late. Someone had destroyed the circuit breaker. There was no way to get the lights back on.
Well, that doesn't bode well for Rusty. That was the only way to save him.
Rusty!
The ground was covered with oily patches that looked like liquid darkness.
I just need hunting licenses.
Okay. The darkness attacked, it's eaten Rusty, and I guess Max's cage was just flung free, and he's fine. It was thrown from the house, and he's completely intact and alive, and he's on a farm just upstate, and we love him very much. Come on, man, snap out of it. Don't go inside. That's not where you're supposed to be.
Closer than 25 yards. Pets must be leashed. Never leave your pet unattended.
Anytime now. Come on, man. I'm not coming in after you.
To remove any natural objects or historical artifacts from the park grounds. This includes even rocks.
There we go. He's just coffee after all. Under that thin layer of skin. Killing him. You probably didn't see that. Gave me an achievement called The Thin Layer of Skin. So he's the guy from the diner earlier that was saying he's drinking so much so much coffee now, that inside he's all coffee. Oh, that went right through my elbow. Alright, we good? Anyone else want some? Not seeing any other pages. And I guess we're going back out this way. Rusty got eaten. Quickly checking here. I already have so many times, and yet I keep feeling like I'm going to miss something. Okay. Which way do I go? There must be another path, yes, right there, that I went the long way around. So sorry, we'll make it back out there. Oh, there's Max. Hey, he's fine. He's he's turned into a cat, but it's all good. All right, now we're on our way. Just have to make it to Lover's Peak. I did not get any souvenirs. I didn't even know. Besides the buck-toothed Joshies, what souvenirs there were. This isn't the time, Barry.
What? What the hell was that? I saw from the window. I saw something.
Forget about it, Barry. It's just me going crazy.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. You're not crazy. I wish you were crazy, but you're not crazy.
Barry's finally on board.
Stay in the cabin. Don't open the door.
Now that he's seen what I've seen. Okay. No pages. What a lovely overlook.
In that last instant of consciousness, Rusty thought about Rose. He was older than she was. Rose was barely out of her teens, but she made him feel young and forget what a train wreck his long-dead marriage had been. He still wore the ring. He'd been waiting for her to tell him to take it off. Now she never would.
Because he was dead. I see. Okay. Goodies? Yes, please, thank you. For your safety, stay on designated hiking trail. How about we go off of it and look for coffee that we just find in the forest and drink without questioning?
Lover's Peak was at the far end of the nature trail.
Entering the Moonshine Cave. Get those taste buds ready. Hello? Moonshiners? Oh, it's lovely in here. Gosh, those stalactites are tight. Site of frequent bootlegger activity throughout the Prohibition. This cave was the site of, you'll never guess it, frequent and lucrative bootlegger activity. Did I say that right? Sounded weird. Throughout the Prohibition, it was mostly used for temporary storage of alcohol smuggled from Canada. You're naughty. But at times, alcohol was also distilled on the premises. Where exactly was it distilled? In which barrel is it currently being kept? Where is the ladle? It's been a long day, and I'd like a ladle of shine. Shotgun. It's definitely going to come in handy. Ooh. Got another achievement. Discovered 5 hidden chests. All right. Don't you tell me what to do with my taste buds. I'm sorry. That was a little intimate of me to suggest. I apologize. All right. Headed down this path. Aw, that was going to be my safe haven. And you broke it. There's the ranger. There's the ranger. Hey. You look different. I thought I heard you back there. I have the flare gun equipped. Ah. Classic. That was close. Phone's out of order. Not sure who I would call at this point, even if it wasn't. Hey Barry, just checking in. How are you? Good? Good. I'll talk to you later. Hey Alice, still kidnapped? Yep. Stoic silence, that sounds like the rest of our marriage. I'm so sad and alone. That's why I have writer's block. It's because of all the sadness. Okay. Moving on. There's the good stuff. Barry meets Rose.
Night Falls seemed to know where Al was, but Rose, the waitress at the diner, had seen him. From what Barry
Gosh,
could
did
tell,
she see
Al
him?
pretty much felt
She
the urge
drunk
to
it
help.
in.
Rose was just the kind of fan that Al hated, but she really tried to help. She was smart too, knew a lot about what was going on in the town, knew a lot about Al, even knew who Barry was. Barry liked her. That was no big surprise. When it came to women, Barry and Al rarely saw eye to eye.
Okay, there may be a little further accessible bit up here. Let's keep pushing. Definitely spawning bad guys. It's not great news for me and my butt meat, which was intact. There's that coffee. Give it to me. Not seeing any paint or stashes. Check up here real quick. Ah, that feels nice. All right. Switching back. That is a big guy. It's a shotgun situation for sure. Oh, what a beefcake. There. A not insurmountable beefcake. My favorite. The Great Old One. What a name. Felled by lightning in 1937, this exceptionally tall Rocky Mountain Douglas fir, you enjoy, was over 200 years old. According to local legends, it stretched beyond the stars. Ah. After it fell, it was measured to be 66 meters tall, nearly a record length. I love that reference. Alright, so we're going vaguely this way through the forest. Vaguely this way also. Hello. Oh, I walked right into it. I was trying to dodge. Let's check down here. Looks like we're going to the left. Not seeing anything through the haze. Should be good. Welcome back. Taking my sweet time. So many possibilities in these sort of open forest sections. I want to check every edge, but ooh. These are the times when you just run to the next light, and then they stop spawning, is the idea. Okay, Lover's Peak this way. What is this way?
I turned the corner, afraid of what the flashlight's beam might reveal. Suddenly, a roughly painted symbol of a torch glowed in the light. Behind it, hidden by a rock, sat a battered metal trunk. It was here for a reason. Packed with supplies, batteries, flares, ammo. Things you need to make it through the darkness of the night. Something left behind by someone who knew what I knew, and more.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You got up to get a snack and the cat has stolen your spot. Rude. And yes, I think a beef cake is just meatloaf. I don't know. It's just a bit of meatloaf. Alright, so that's the way the sign is pointing. We have another axe in the phones. There's some coffee. And another one down there. We'll have to go find it. But that's about it. Alright, back on the progress path. Watching out for bears. I'm guessing that's not so much a bear alert as it is a bear trap alert, would be my assumption. We'll be very careful about where we're stepping. Hi. I remember having to do this part a couple of times during our last playthrough. This was where I failed horribly. So let's just cut to the chase. Ooh, I got an achievement. Come one, come all. Killed 4 taken with a single shot from the flare gun. That is nice. Anyone else? Alright, so we're going through the log that way. Let's check the other options. Perhaps up here. Nope. Perhaps over here. Not even a page. Alright. Maybe this is one of those spots. There's some places where you're like, surely there must be an item here. I must be missing it. And usually when you hit one of those, there is a page there in nightmare mode. I am not in nightmare mode. Through tree. You know, I think you could have been a little cleverer with it, but I like it. I like the name. There we go. There's that spot with the other coffee. Let's go grab that. Never mind. Never mind. It can stay. Come on out. This dates, or there are edible dates from the 1846. No. Dates from 1846, the year of the Oregon Treaty. Here are the various rings, if you're curious. Why does it say 1987 and then 1929? Should that be 1887? I don't know. It seems out of order that way, but who am I to judge? Not seeing anything. But I really just want to say that out loud, because then something will appear that I've missed. So the magic words. Alright, moving on through the gate. This has been so much fun. Thank you guys very much for hanging out with me here. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm missing a bit of the chat here. So if I understand this game correctly, the guy is an author, and what he writes in this place comes true. Yes, effectively. He is an author, a canonically best-selling author from New York, but who has had writer's block ever since killing off his main character, Alex Casey. He killed off his character in a book, and now he has not known what to write about since. He has literally not written a single word in like a year or more. And then he came to this place specifically to rest, to overcome his writer's block. It's his idea. And then his wife also Alice researched a mental health facility for creatives, for artists, that's meant to specifically help with writer's block, that she wanted me to sign up to go to, but I got upset. And I don't want to be poked and prodded at some facility to fix my writer's block. So, all of that has happened, and then yes, my wife was kidnapped, seemingly by a nefarious force. What I remember is that some sort of dark, black-dressed woman seems to have dragged her into the lake. But upon waking up a week later, I have now been contacted by a kidnapper who is telling me that didn't happen, there's no dark presence in the lake, but they have my wife, and I need to go meet with them to get her back.
Didn't want to be in Bright Falls.
And specifically,
revolted him.
So
He
sorry.
didn't like the trees or the coffee. He now knew that impossible horrors lurked behind the storefronts and smiles. He desperately wanted to turn the car around and just drive until he passed out or ran out of road and booze. But he had a job to do. He had a rider to catch, at any cost.
Thank you, Alan. I'm sorry to interrupt. We have not yet met Agent Nightingale, but we will very soon. So after my perception is that my wife was dragged into the lake by a dark presence, I then blacked out and have lost a week of time, and during that week, I seem to have written an entire novel called Departure that is now spread about all over the forest. I don't know if I ran around the forest, flipping pages around wildly, or what happened exactly. I think Thomas Zane has something to do with it in a minute. And so I have seemed to have overcome my writer's block. But I have no memory of what I wrote, and now what I wrote is coming true. So it's not necessarily that he's actively writing things now and changing the world, but the manuscript he seems to have written during his lost week is now coming true. And we're not quite sure why yet. So sorry for the long recap there. Yeah, this looks safe. Let's put ourselves on there. That looks nice and safe. Yes, meanwhile, there's sort of an obvious implication that I might have gotten angry with Alice and pushed her into the lake, which is what a lot of other people seem to believe. They've not yet fully caught on to or believe that my wife is even missing. But once they do, that subject will definitely come up. Have I gone crazy? Where's that radio mast? Hang on. I'm sure these are helpful Good Samaritans with signs. Hey, boat boy. How's your lower back?
That flashlight's kid stuff. The flares will keep the bastards away.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I know you're actively insulting me, but thank you. That was great.
You can see them too?
Hey.
Hell, of course I see them. Come on, we gotta move.
I thought I was done with you on the ferry. Why are you following me?
Yeah, but... Let's move! I lost my gun back there.
Oh, I've got a gun.
That's fine for me.
Just keep that light steady on him.
It took a moment, but then I recognized him. He'd been on the ferry when I first arrived here with Alice. He
It's
knew
lower
my
back,
name.
boy.
We were headed in the direction of Lover's Peak. There was no way this was a coincidence. He was the kidnapper.
Come on, Wake. You
Punch
better
him.
keep up.
Use
You
the
set
button to
up,
punch him
and I'll
now.
knock him down, Wake.
Alright, so I can use flares, not the flare gun version, but just the grabbable version. However, he has a gun, but if I can remove the darkness protection from them, he should be able to take him out. Stay back. Might try that guy. I'm in the firing line. Ah, that's right into it, isn't it? Sometimes you dodge, and it just doesn't work out. Okay. We're alive for now. Quick check for coffee. Never mind. No checking for coffee. Get him! Get him in the face. Terrible, terrible job. Ugh. He's Bioshocking me. Quick!
Fighting me!
He's a dual wielder. You gotta take him out. Thank you. I thought you were a hunter dressed like that, and yet your aim is so terrible. Anything back here? More combat. Get him. Beautiful. All right. Not seeing anything back there. Let's go.
Lover's Peak. Right up these stairs, Wake. Use the flares from the emergency box to hold them off while I get these boards off.
Give me the gun.
Yeah, sure.
No can do, Wake.
Are you kidding? Give me the gun!
I mean, you could also cover us, and I could get the boards off. That doesn't sound too difficult. Oh, fine. I'll protect us with no weapon. That's fine.
Just a little longer. Scare them off.
I'm trying to.
Get some light on those bastards. That'll keep them off us.
You done yet?
Longer. I almost got it.
You done yet? Ah.
Okay, it's open. Move it or lose it.
Lovely.
You just keep coming. Better get ready. They're
All right.
on us soon.
I'd better not go too much further. Without the gun hand. Hello, gun hand. And we've arrived. So about the lovers situation, why are we here? Why did you make me come alone? Before I step foot onto the boards themselves, are you going to kiss me? I would like a mint first, and I'm very uncomfortable with these sorts of situations. I don't like to be touched.
This is it, Wade.
So
The last stand. There's more flares here. Get ready. We fight them as long as they keep coming.
oh, you broke the light bulb with your snobbery. That's what caused it. Please give me the gun. I beg of you. Come on now, you can do it. Nope, apparently you can't. But it is fun to watch you get savaged by hammers. Don't you point that at me, you fiend. Let's get a little help. Let's get a little flare help for that. You good? You got him? Perfect. Is it? Seems more like a desperate survival situation, but okay. Once again, about that gun, could I have?
That's right. You just keep coming. Die already, die! I know. Scream, goddammit! Stop moving! That's what I got for ya.
Come on, one more. One good one, right in the noggin. Okay, 3 more. I'm sorry I misspoke.
Let's cut the act now. Where's my wife?
I knew you were gonna say that. I read it all before. You're a hell of a writer. Congratulations. You're gonna bring about something glorious and terrible.
What do you mean?
Get you some proper editorial control.
What the hell are you talking about? Where's Alice?
I want the entire manuscript, or she's gonna suffer bad.
You touch her
Just a really badly thrown punch. You practically killed yourself. Why? But hey, it all worked out. I'm gonna give you some lead. That's for sure. I'm not sure about the manuscript.
Come back here!
He had Alice, and he wanted the manuscript because he thought it held some magical power.
I mean, sure, the man who claims to have my wife is running the other way, but a cool cave. Alright, I am now armed again. That means I'm now in charge of surviving. Great. I got another achievement. Paging Mr. Wake. Found 25 manuscript pages.
Alice had tried to explain to me how it felt to be afraid of the dark. To her, darkness wasn't simply the absence of light, but something more tangible than that. It was something you could touch and feel. Worse than that, it was something with a mind of its own, something malicious and malign. For her, things changed when they were wrapped in darkness. They turned into something else, something foreign, and nothing was safe or innocent anymore. I'd never really understood what she meant, until now.
Oh, yeah. I totally understand what she means now. Is this the same gun that happens in Control? Like, are they related? It is certainly related to Control. This is the same Alan Wake mentioned there, yes. I'm not sure about the gun specifically, like the service weapon from Control. I don't think that makes an appearance, but I'm probably misunderstanding. Alright, that way? Where the guy's running off into the woods? Oh, bear traps. Lovely. There they are. This is what they look like set on the ground. Thank goodness for that little glint. We're gonna want to avoid that. Ouchie, ouchie, and my ankle meets. It's a rather large section. To have nothing at all in it. Disappointing. In my mind, like the question, are they related games? How much bleed over is there from Alan Wake into Control? In my mind, Control is, at least in some part, a construct of Alan Wake, a construct of his mind and writing. It is, after 10 years in the dark place, a new plan to rescue himself using an organization that discovers, investigates, and rescues people from paranatural events and entities. At this point, in real time now, 10 years ago, Alan has no possible way of help. And I think it took him 10 years to invent, in some sense, the FBC in order to make a way out of the dark place for himself. But I'm getting very, very ahead of myself. So I think they are integrally connected. Control would not exist in a story lore sense directly without Alan Wake.
Sarah didn't care about the legal threats Wake's agent had made. She let Wake go without argument, because there was something about him she couldn't quite put her finger on. Something that reminded her of her father. She didn't think Wake would hurt his
by the
wife.
way,
Then
works
she
for the
thought about
FBC.
the way he waded into Hartman, that hair-trigger rage flaring up without warning.
So I do believe, I don't believe Alan invented the FBC. I don't think he brought that into existence purely to save himself. I do believe the FBC existed in some sense, even before this point, in the timeline. But I think Alan specifically sent the hiss to it, to not only reconnect himself to the world, but also give Jessie the clue she would need about presences. The hiss is an audible presence, like Jessie's Polaris is an audible presence, a frequency. And this is a visible presence. Alan Wake fights with light and darkness, not sound. But I think he's trying to clue Jessie into the fact that your senses can be used against you in that way. I keep running towards bear traps thinking they're manuscript pages. They are not. I've gotten a bit turned around here in my ramblings. Do pardon. Let's try following the path. Hoping to look for coffee, but now there's so many bear traps around, I'm thinking, forget the coffee. Yes, FBC, I'm so sorry, is the Federal Bureau of Control. A government agency similar to like the Men in Black, let's say, that finds, investigates, captures, responds to paranatural entities and what they call AWEs, which are altered world events, where something about reality has been changed or added to. And this was not the first Altered World event, but it's an early one in the timeline. The Bright Falls AWE we are experiencing now. Hello from the bushes. Stop that. You there, in the bushes. All right. This way. Oh, I saw something bright down there for a second. Was it just my flashlight? I thought I saw a page. Alright, I think this is a safe haven if I can get to it and activate the generator. If memory serves. Quickly, quickly. Activate the generator. Oh, I hear him behind me. That was so close. Okay. Ooh. Hello again. Still so close. Disappear. Nobody wants you here. Yummy. Page back here.
The night had been one desperate situation after another. I was exhausted, and my body felt as though it had been chewed up and spat out. The flashlight was heavy in my hand, and each pull of the trigger sent a painful shock up my arm. But I was finally out of the woods, and things were looking up. That's when I heard the chainsaw.
I love that one. It's one of my favorite pages. That's when I heard the chainsaw. Alright, so we have a hunting rifle. That'll take the place of our shotgun. That's like a shotgun version 2. A little more damage for beef boys. Speaking of which... Alright, let's just try to get past him. There's an awful lot to look at up there.
It made no sense. It was clear that it had just fallen here, but it was very old and obviously hadn't flown in decades. Looking at it sent a shiver down my spine.
I think there is something in here. And I can see-saw it. Let's try that. Maybe I was supposed to wait before seesawing it. But at least we got the goodies. Hooray! Still not the right button. Okay, reload that. So I can't remember if there was something on the other wing. There must not be. Yeah, seems fine. Quick check up here. But should be good. Alright. Headed back towards the objective. headed down. Hello, boys. Didn't catch it. How about now? Oh, bless those flares. Thanks, flares. Alright, full health again. Anything to grab? Bit of hunting rifle ammo there. Headed that way towards the light. Anything else looking worthwhile while we're being attacked? This looks worthwhile, but not sure if it leads to anything. Oh, where am I? Am I dead? Yep, now I am. Fell off the wrong side of that log. Ah, what a great spot for a waypoint. Thank you. Pick this up again. So I didn't see anything over there on the log, but that does seem like a rather strange spot. Maybe that's another nightmare page. Let me give a quick look down here. Make sure there's no coffee. Alright, moving on to the light. Coffee on the peninsula there. Let's make sure we're safe enough to grab it. Sometimes, and it's almost worse than being ambushed, there's whooshing. And then no guys. That's almost worse. Let's try that. Okay, am I missing a page? I kind of feel like there was a page here once upon a time. Maybe not. Sure not seeing one. All right. To the slight safety of a building, that always feels good. Reach the top of the mill. Top of the mill to you. That makes me feel self-conscious about my weight. Oh, good. Whew. Hello? Angry mill keeper? Spirit of the angry mill keeper's wife? Is that you? Clean up all this gurk. Ugh. Ughy gurk. Alright, so I can't go out that way. What was the other option? Upstairs. And kick it? Kick it good. Or not. Yeah, that's fine. There we go. Alright, so that being the case, let's check out on this balcony just to make sure. Good.
The logging site was a mess. The modular office had been pushed off the cliff.
I remember that.
Deputy Thornton climbed up from the wreckage excited, breathing hard from the exertion. Nobody there. It's weird. Don't you think that's weird? Bored, Mulligan let out a mighty snort. Hell, it's always weird, Thornton. Just a question of sorting out what kind of weird it is this time around.
All right, headed upstairs.
When Barry saw the darkness attack the visitor center, it made him a believer. The men Al said he'd shot, they hadn't been just locals on crank. Somehow the world had changed. Like the channel had
It got altered in some way.
You think you're watching a sitcom, and you're really watching a horror show. When the birds started attacking the cabin, Barry wasn't surprised, just terrified.
Barry? You okay, buddy? Are there birds attacking the cabin right now? You call me on my cell phone if there are birds. Need to make sure my bear bear is safe. Ladder. Must be the way we're going. Hello there, so nice to see you. You're just in time to catch a little Alan Wake. Poltergeists. Around every turn. It's gonna be fine. Alright, let's get off of this rickety wood. The darkness wears her face.
Be aware of Widowmakers.
Let's get out the big beef boy weapon. That's the big one for beef boys. Yeah. So much meatloaf. So little time. This looks like a thing. Hooray!
Shadows stirred and the wind picked up as I ran through the forest. I felt the dark presence turning its gaze toward me. Then the moonlight was blotted out by dark shadows that raced violently across the ground, moving too swiftly to be natural. Darkness gathered between
especially in 60 FPS.
To reveal the taken. No natural path had brought them here.
Alright, parkouring my way on out. And headed this way. Anything else before I go past the point of no return again? Seems pretty clear. Okay, we got a pair of beef boys. Come on. So close. Got him. Whew. Okay, this looks like something. Maybe a safe spot for a second. Drop hazard. I'll be careful about that. Not like last time. Not like falling off that log. this when you hear that chainsaw you mentioned? This looks like a spot for a chainsaw.
Logging is a hazardous occupation.
There it is! It's the saw! Alright, come on. Get rid of that nasty darkness. Got some quick friends. Good, good. Whew. Get everything reloaded. That would be nice. Not seeing any collectibles there. How about up here? Just more endless nothingness. Ah, the lonely recesses of Alan's mind, made physical. A lot of shrubberies. What's that about, Alan? Barry? Bird situation? Tell me. I knew it.
Stay out of sight. I'm on my way. Don't open the door.
What am I, crazy?
Stay hidden. I'll be there soon. Just make sure you keep the lights on.
I'll be there for bird combat shortly. You just keep your puffy jacket on. They can't peck through that. It's too puffy. I see the request for a sip in there, absolutely. I have a little tiny slurp of coffee left. But we will need to go inverted. Oh, that's nice. Thank you. I'm sorry your num-nums have not been growing. That's terrible. I hope they're not broken. Ah, I broke my num-nums.
I still had to reach Barry at the cabin, but at least I was out of the woods.
Literally. Alright, so we just have to get back to Barry. I think this is a part where they let you use a vehicle for the first time, which is great. There's the vehicle they let you use. We'll come back to it. Let me just check the bathrooms here. I need to use the restrooms. Preferably multiple at the same time. Another single-family home. It's nice. Pile on. Oh, I'm always... Like, I don't think it's actually possible for you to get ambushed in a bathroom in Alan Wake, but I always think you're going to get ambushed in the bathroom, no matter where it is. There. Now we can get to the truck.
A story is not a machine that does what you tell it. A story is a beast with a life of its own. You can create it, shape it, but as the story grows, it starts wanting things of its own. Change one thing and you set off a chain reaction of events that spreads through the whole thing.
Stay.
The characters have to be true to themselves. The events need to follow a logic that fits the story. A single flaw and the magic is gone. The story dies. Alice dies.
Alright, let's get in the truck. I'm being ambushed in the bathroom. I knew it! I knew it! I didn't actually know you could peek in here. That's great. In case you'd like to see some toilets. That's an interest of yours, a personal interest.
The FBI agent's command froze me in place. I considered surrender. It was all falling apart anyway. I could give in, let someone else deal with it. But it felt all wrong. Call it instinct. His posture. The way he held the gun. He was no friend. Shots ringing in my ears, I leaped for the hole in the fence and stumbled into the darkness beyond.
Well, that sounds exciting. I can't wait. No toilets? Well, these are just stalls for no reason. No mirror? Ah, somebody got a bad end of the stick here. This must be the men's room. Let's check. Not assigned. Alright, unlocking the truck. And then we're on our way speeding back to Barry for the big finale. I suppose, after said finale, I had better go try to find something to eat here. But I sure do appreciate the extended session. There, I knew there's some button to boost your headlights. That's the one. Got him! Alright, so we can't keep the truck. We probably should. I think Barry's this way. Let's just check to see if there's anything hidden back here. There is a thermos. Gotta get out and back in real quick before they start spawning. Thank you. Yes, I am just stalling because I don't want to leave you guys. Just trying to think of any reason not to go. I do remember from the long, long ago that there's an achievement for like running over 5 guys. Love to grab that while we have a car section real quick here. But I'm sorry for all the erratic driving. This can go much faster. Die! This darkness shield wasn't entirely evaporated. Okay, anywhere that it looks like we should get out and grab something? Here's a stash. There, must be in that shed. Let's take these guys out first. Sure is nice being in a car. However, it's not nice to miss them in said car. Alright, this one's almost busted up. You can see it's smoking now. Let's get our stash. We may have to switch vehicles in a moment. So many of them. Hooray! Hey, that's just rude. That's my car. Back in. All right. The car's broken. That's fair enough. We'll find another. That's what I get for being greedy for stashes. Ouch. Alright, so I know there was one back a ways. seems a little far. And they are going to keep spawning infinitely, so let me just try running forward. This is not ideal. Well, this would have been fun to hit. Less fun on foot, but still, whee! Alright, there's a car. Let's get into the light so they stop spawning, and then we'll take it. Another can pyramid as well. Reload our nuclears. Alright, we'll take that. Anybody have coffee? Alright, sorry, Barry. On the way. Whoa. That seems a little shaky. So, keep driving that way, or do I drive into the tunnel? I'm not sure. Got him. That does look like it keeps going. Let me just peek around the corner. Must be the way to Barry that way, so let me check the tunnel first. Stay in the car just in case. There is something down there. I have to ditch the car to get to it, and then there's something back here. Is this an alternate way forward? There's stairs at the end of it. I'm not sure what that is. Must just be an alternate path. Get the tunnel first. Does not bode well. Yep.
There was no misunderstanding. Cauldron Lake was where Alice and I had stayed, but there was no cabin and no island. I was missing a week. What had happened to me? What had happened to Alice? I had to get her back. I couldn't face life without her.
Oh boy, that scared me. You're standing like directly behind me, almost like a mirror image. So let's go around. I'm assuming those stairs lead to the same spot, but we'll see if we can see them from the other side, just in case. There is another car here of the same make if we wanted to switch to something less damaged, but I'm just gonna go for it. No worries. Yeah, so here's where those stairs would have come up if you came on foot. Doesn't look like anything to grab. Moving on. Back to Rusty's. Hi, Rusty. Hi, Max, who's definitely still alive. Almost to you, Barry. We're coming on foot. Hang in there. Just let them peck at your puffiest bit. I'm gonna get attacked by birds again too. That's the bad news. Forget Barry.
I could imagine against the dark things I was facing.
Hey guys. Oh, headshot. double-sided ambush. That's just rude. You're all regular guys. That's sturdy. Good for you. Good for you, just out here being regular guys. Watch your head, Alan. Your head especially. Oh, you're still back there, having a blast. Okay, just this guy left. And we're into the light. Well, that would have been the thing to run for immediately instead of fighting them.
It was the kidnapper.
You son of a bitch! Where's my wife?
Enough horseplay, wait.
I didn't say it.
Deliver the manuscript, and you can have your
Supposed to say,
woman back.
"Where's my wife?"
I don't... Listen.
Alan, you
I'm
disappointment.
gonna need time to finish it. I still need to write the ending. I need a week.
It's not done.
I need a week.
2 days. The old Bright Falls coal mine
That's
is
not a
nearby.
week at all.
You can find it easy, city boy. The main building, there at noon. You bring the manuscript, you'll get your wife. If not...
Oh, hey, birds.
Get me.
Yes, I get you.
Okay. So, I'm operating under the lie I believe Alan is telling, because he has no idea whether the manuscript is done. He only has like 14 pages of it. We need to find more. He said the manuscript isn't finished and that he needs a week to properly write the ending. And the kidnapper said, you have 2 days. Here's Barry's car. Probably shouldn't vandalize it on the way back to save him. Let's just save him instead. Okay. Here's the big bird battle. The big Barry saving bird battle. Yeah, I get the impression that these birds are weird, Barry. I sense that. Die! Die, foul birds! So you can do this a lot quicker by just wasting all your flare gun ammo, and it's the end of a level, so why not? But I do like to take a couple of them out the old-fashioned way here. By osmosis? Is that what it's called? No, not at all. So once you get their last little bit of darkness protection off, the entire flock of birds is released from the presence and can then just leave, which is nice. Instead of blowing them to hell with a flare gun. Like that. Six shots. That was a waste. Come on, birds. Easiest to take them all at once when they're rushing you like that. But they like to take their sweet time. Alright, should be getting close.
Barry, you can open the door now. They're gone.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Al.
How far did they get through your puff?
You were having a psychotic episode, man.
Where did their beaks touch you? Tell me. God, it's good to see you, Barry.
To ask around about a man fitting the kidnapper's description. He'd go through the archives of the local paper. Perhaps he could learn something. Anything about the island and the cabin that had disappeared. The man wanted a manuscript. I had to try to write him one to get Alice back.
The only problem is Alan is still suffering from the same writer's block. he was only able to write these manuscript pages, if indeed he did, while he was like in a psychotic state for a week.
A tool to use in writing fiction. Now, it was happening for real, and I couldn't put a single word on paper.
Barry Wheeler speaking.
This is
Love this game.
Rose?
I found Mr. Wake's pages.
Oh, you sweet, brilliant girl.
Could you and Mr. Wake come get them? I live in the trailer park
sound
outside the town.
We'll
sick,
be there in less
Rose.
than an hour. See you soon.
You okay? You feeling
Have a
okay?
great day. Hope you come back soon. Welcome to the old dear diner.
Good girl.
What a game. I cannot wait to jump into episode 3 with you all. Hopefully soon. Oh, hopefully soon.
Come here.
Previously on Alan Wake, Alice has been kidnapped.
Alan, please help me.
Alice?
You'll do exactly what I say if you ever want to see your wife.
I guess we can just
can't
jump
tell
through
anyone
this.
except
I'm
my
assuming it
agent,
would
Barry.
save it regardless, but just to make sure. Make sure it's saved.
The ransom is a manuscript I supposedly wrote that's coming true before my eyes.
Oh, thank you guys for the company. This has been such a pleasure.
I have found only a few scattered pages.
I want the entire manuscript.
The deadline is in 2 days.
I found Mr. Wake's pages.
Stop pointing at me. Episode 3.
How the hell did she get her hands on the manuscript anyway?
I don't know. She's resourceful. I told you were too hard on her. Listen, I found out all sorts of interesting stuff while I was digging around.
Yeah.
Mr. Wake, it's Sheriff Breaker. We have an FBI agent here. Agent
An FBI agent?
FBI?
He's anxious to see you. You'd better come to the station.
Okay, I'll be right over, Sheriff. Let's make this quick, huh?
Help you,
All right.
folks?
We'll be right back to meet with the trailer park owner and to find Rose's trailer, where we will maybe get some pages. Who knows? I cannot wait to see you guys soon. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you're having a lovely Tuesday. And, that's about it. See you soon.